The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTRTV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. Nestled in the suburbs of Phoenix, Arizona, in a little town called Glendale, lies the famous 1-mile track that is the NASCAR Championship Circuit. Just a few months ago, we did have the Spartan SimRacing League Championship at this very circuit, but now it is the spring, and we are here to have another round here in the desert. Welcome everybody to PTRTV for tonight's coverage of the SSRL Spartan SimRacing League with their Masters Series here at the famed 1-mile circuit. Gonna be myself, Corey Silva, in the booth, along with Bradley Dalton here to help me with the calls here. So Bradley, the last race that you worked with me was actually the last race of the Masters Series. We've had a little bit of a break, but back at it here. Super Speedway season is over. We're at the meat and potatoes of what the NASCAR season entails.
Yeah, Corey, good evening everyone watching, and I have to tell you, I'm very, very glad we're out of Super Speedway season. I love Super Speedway season, and I hate it at the same time because you just get so much of it all the time. And when we get to these tracks like Phoenix, these tracks that are more unique and I think really bring out the high life in NASCAR, this is what it's about. This is where league racing shines. This is where NASCAR itself shines. So I'm real happy to be here and see this through and see what these guys can give us here.
Yeah, exactly that. As of course, Daytona being what Daytona is, and then we head to the mini Daytona, which is now the Atlanta Super Speedway, but, well, it's not actually Super Speedway because that's SMI branding, but the point is obviously known there. But heading down to the 1-mile track with just more pavement. I mean, you would think whoever paved this track should have put themselves on the New York Stock Exchange, because when they paved this place, their stock would have went through the roof here with as much pavement as this place has. It basically is just a parking lot with paint in the middle here. But we are currently under qualifying right now, and we covered qualifying a few weeks ago in our SSRL Truck Series race. So what the format will be is we'll have 3 drivers rolled off at a time, and they will each get 2 laps, and once those 3 drivers complete their 2 laps, they will head to pit road, and we'll fire off another 3 in reverse practice order, the slowest first, which is surprisingly Justin Levine in that category here in the Mobile 1 Mustang.
Yeah, Justin Levine I wouldn't expect to be the slowest. He's actually sitting P13 in the standings and seems to have some pretty decent pace. He seems to really know what he's doing, so seeing him P13 or back in the back for practice is pretty surprising. But Phoenix is a unique track. If you look at the shape of the track, it's not what you would expect thinking of a NASCAR track. It's a very off shape. The start finish line is in a weird position. There's a lot to this track, and the paving is just a small portion of it. You can see the different lines these guys are running, the different looks that they're taking. I mean, there's a lot to this track that we can break down through this race. But the qualifying setup, I really like, where they're doing 3 cars at a time, kicking it out, live qualifying sessions. It does produce a little bit more on race control to kind of keep track of everything and for everyone to just make sure who's doing what. But it's going to show us some good live track action, and everybody gets an idea very quickly where they're at in terms of pace.
You see here, first line of drivers has completed there, and Levine has gone top of the board here thus far with a 27-25. So we will now await the next lineup of drivers to take their turn to come in. And in true fashion of what we did a few weeks ago, we have brought back the Brady Bunch wall here on the evening. 6 guys here ready to show their cockpits and show their faces and be very bored until admin calls them on the track. You can see Johan there just playing with the... everyone's playing with their beard. Everyone who has a beard is playing with their beard, apparently. But yeah, well, thanks to them for showcasing that here on the evening. And we do also have point standings, as we are 2 races in. After Atlanta, Ty Ippolito holds a 9-point lead over Travis Craneborg, with RJ Root down in 3rd. Johan Seminario and Ed Scherer there rounding out our top 5. And you can see 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Richardson, Schaefer, Sailors, and then Ty 9th and 10th, Baysaw and Brandon Edstrom there. So our very, very premature point standings here, as we are 2 races into our season here. As looks like our next group of guys exiting pit lane.
Yeah, next set of cars coming out here, and it's going to be Jason Kratke, Tanner Marty, and I believe there's one more, Casey Ryback. The next 3 out here. So Chevy, Ford, and a Toyota. So it seems like we're breaking this down by car make and model, which is really, it's fun if they're doing it like that. But I do see a lot of Chevys in the field.
Yeah, it is just it would be just coincidental there with the practice lineup, but you know, we do like to see parity. Of course, parity within the simulator. All the cars are the same in terms of their physics. It's just the matter of you know, virtual stickers. Whoa! Kratke blew a virtual right front tire, or a hardware failure hard into the fence. That'll kill his first lap. I'm not sure what happens if he can get a reset, if admin will let him do that, or if he'll have to relinquish. Not sure that situation has come up. But Tanner Marty, a 29, that'll put him 2nd on the board there, so good job for him. And now here comes Casey. Whoa, he's going to want a little bit of improvement there. He is all the way a half second off the pace. But let's see what Kratke, I'm gonna go on the presumption there that he's not gonna get a second lap or a second attempt, but could be wrong. But let's see what happens. Tanner Marty kisses the fence, so that lap will not be any better, and even if it was, it wouldn't count. And Ryback will you know, a little bit better, but does not go up on the scoreboard.
Yeah, just looking over the rules real quick. So if a driver crashes or has an incident during qualifying, they go to a quote-unquote backup car for the race, and they are given end of line for race start. So that will kick them all the way to the back. They do not get the option, and they will unfortunately be starting end of line in that quote-unquote race backup car, which is what would happen in real life NASCAR. If something happened during qualifying, you'd get kicked in a backup car to the end of the line. So good on them. This Master Series here, of course, this is meant to be a challenge of the best. So I like seeing them kind of implementing those real life, you know, synonyms into the racing.
So for those who are not overly familiar with the iRacing service, we are in the first race post build, aka the rain build, which is what everyone knows it as for obvious reasons. But this is our first broadcast since the build, and for some reason there is one broadcast setting that always changes after every build, and I forgot to check it. So we do have to refresh the point standings. Now this white stealth car is Bobby Anderson there in the 18. He is just crossing the stripe there, and I'm not quite sure why his livery has not loaded yet. I did just try to make sure of that, but I'll try again once more. So perhaps if we go radio style for a moment, Bradley, we'll try to double check these liveries here.
Yeah, you've got that number 18 of Bobby Anderson, and what he is running actually is a good M&M livery, which the number 18 card M&M livery doesn't surprise anyone. Coming around the track here and is going down into turn 1. You've got Scott Schroeder, who just put in a 27.45. So Scott Schroeder finding his way up into 4th. Reese Schaefer is going to be the fastest at the moment with a 26.93, 3/10 up on Mr. Justin Levine. So finding some good times in that number 17, who is continuing to run around. And it looks like he is going to be on the one and done contest from what I can see. Bobby Anderson finds his way up into 2nd place with a 27.09, and Scott Schroeder, who is still trying to find a lap time as we're looking for race control to call the next 3 cars through, as we are seeing everyone coming around. They're going in. So Scott Schroeder did not improve anything, 27.38 there. So at the moment, Reese Schaefer is finding his way up. First car into the 26s, but everybody is in the 27s to some degree. And it's fairly close, fairly competitive here. And those 3 cars are in. We'll get our next 3 cars out. It's Dave Few Jr., Jordan Sailors, and Josh Campbell. Our next 3 cars out. It's the number 8, the number 45, and the number 44. Bringing their cars around the track here, getting on a warm-up lap, getting ready to come out and about. And we'll see what they can put together on the track and what they can do through as we see that number 8 coming down the back stretch now. And it looks like things are up and rolling for us, I believe, Corey.
Yeah, I do believe so. So again, post-build, this is why week 13 is a little bit rough, but we get it situated here early in the broadcast, luckily. But back on screen again, Josh Campbell there. He's currently 6th. Dave Fuge, he's just about to cross the stripe for yet another lap, and a 27:35. That'll put him in the 6th spot, tentatively for the, tentatively there. And then Chad Gunningsman. He is, I think, prepping for his next lap. They are already starting the 2nd stage process there, but trying to see if anybody else is still on an out lap. I think those were the 2nd laps. So we will await the next set of 3.
Yeah, next set of 3 should come out fairly quickly. They're moving through this line, but of course, there is a considerable amount of cars to go through the track, but it looks like race control is getting this up and out as quick as possible. So I don't think qualifying is going to last very long for us. Of course, race control is allocated 45 minutes in for qualifying, and we're just a few minutes in, but they also did the driver's meeting right at the start of the session. So not exactly a 45-minute session, but it is going to take them a couple minutes, but we do have our next 3 cars out.
Now we got Matthew Cisna in the number 27 car, along with Thomas Kalmasecki there in the 69, and then last but not least of the trio, actually Chad Gunning's been going now, so I think he was just getting staged earlier. So Gunningsman won that. Is not going to be too happy about that. He's going to make those Goodyears very, very unsettled, but no damage to the car. So in basic principle, he should be able to let it roll and take a 2nd lap.
Yeah, if you're going to mess up a lap, you don't want to mess up a lap.
Conspiracy theory here. Did he mess up, or did he purposely get sideways to heat the tires up? Conspiracies.
You know, it's not unheard of.
My name starts with a C. Conspiracy starts with a C. I mean, I'm not going to say much further because I'll probably get into a political argument here, but let's see what happens as Matthew Sista crosses the stripe. He was 5th, and that's a good one. That will rise him to P3. Sista with a 21:17.
You know what? If we're going to conspiracy theory, do you think any of these drivers sandbagged a little bit in practice so that way they could just get out early into qualifying?
Now, that would be very much plausible depending on our virtual time and date. Now, I don't have the date as a feature that I can display, but I know that you could find it, and we can also show our weather details, which will tell us that we are 3:22 sim time right now. There is no moisture on the track. I'm just preparing. But what time of year are we currently racing in the virtual world there, Bradley?
We are racing today's date. So March 9th as this is live, but of course in sim time it is earlier in the day. It looks like 2 p.m. local time is what they're set up on. So it's early in the year.
But you know, when it comes to these elite series, and I'm going to call this an elite series, there is there's Coke affiliations with this series, a lot of top tier teams, and they're satellite drivers, all that fun stuff. They do race in this league, so these little minute tiny details become very, very prominent when you start needing every last thousandth of a second. So it would not be out of the stretch of imagination that someone would want to go out to qualify first. But Ben Stevens won last week's race at Atlanta, and that lap will probably not count. Sometimes they get away with it, but not in this instance. Andrew Kotska, he is on track right now. He is about to complete his flyer in that number 47 car, and that'll put him somewhere in that 6th, 7th, 8th ballpark there. And I think the other driver on circuit here currently is Joseph Causey, 7th on lap number 1. He's about to complete lap number 2.
Yeah, Joseph Kazi seems fairly comfortable there in that number 88 going around, and it does not surprise me to see him moving up second place now as he slides around. But you also have Benjamin Stevens, who is fairly
12th.
comfortable.
Yeah, he got a 12th.
Which, you know, I don't think 12 is a bad place to be at, Corey, honestly, in qualifying. Like, most people are going to tell you want to qualify up at the very start of the field, but at a track like Phoenix, you can get away with being in that upper mid part of the grid and still be a little comfortable.
Yeah, exactly that. There's a lot of space. You know, there is a lot of space here, not just in terms of runoff, but I mean, there is multiple grooves to an extent. So there is ways to pass here. I'm not going to say it's the easiest track in the world to pass on, but if you're starting in the mid-pack, you still have a plausible shot. I would not want to start at the end because, as we saw in the NASCAR Xfinity Series race, I won't give overly spoilers, but there was a big one. So gotta have some care there, especially if wrecks happen off turn number 2 here. But this is Robert Bissaw Jr. I think he's in the top 10 in points, if my memory goes back that far at the beginning of the broadcast here. But coming through turn number 2, still have to addendum myself on that sometimes. Got Kyle Westwood in the 84, and then Kevin Zosiak. We cursed him at Atlanta, so this will be the one and only time we speak of him tonight.
Yeah, I feel like one and only time to speak of him is a good decision, because I feel like if we curse Kevin Zosiak, he's going to come find us. He's not going to be very happy. But you know, again, conspiracy theory, commentator's curse doesn't actually exist. I'm going to say that, and I'm going to regret it later tonight as we watch Kevin Zosiak going through. Looks fairly comfortable. Kyle Westwood also looks comfortable. All of these drivers seem comfortable on their laps from what I'm seeing, just riding on board with different cars, looking around at different cameras and trying to just get a feel of who's where with this track. And it seems like there's a good mix of where everyone's at.
Yeah, and we're getting really tight times here as well. We only have the one driver, Reese Schaefer. He's the only one that managed to break the 27 bracket here, as we have, I believe, roughly, we got more than I thought. We got roughly about 12 guys left to go. But we've only seen one, but, you know, the times should get faster here, because remember, we are batting backwards here, so the guys who are coming onto the track now will be the fastest drivers in practice. So I'm sure somebody will break that 26-second bracket here. We have Kendall Levron, we got Neil Pearson, one of the Aussies, and then, as I call him, the shoe, we got Chad Kibbe there in the leather Jordan. I'm sure there is a specific shoe that is emulating, but I am not a shoe guy, so I do not know, but he is on track as well.
Yeah, I'm not a shoe guy at all. And just to make a note, Reese Schaefer and Kyle Westwood have now broken into the 26 mark. For Kyle Westwood, it was a 26.98 on his second lap, just barely there. But there, you just have to be there sometimes. So that'll set him up currently at the front row of the grid, as long as the other 12 or so cars that we have remaining aren't able to nix him out and get a little bit faster than that. But again, as we go through qualifying, these faster cars are going to come through. And as we get these faster cars through, Corey, this is where more fun is going to start to hit. And I think the times, especially at the top half of the table, are going to get a bit more competitive as we go on. Yeah,
Chad Kibbe the shoe, he slipped in something there because he's going to lose some time off of 4, but still puts himself 12th on the board, so not too catastrophic there. But here comes Leveron. What will his lap 1 entail? It'll entail a 6th place effort. And Neil Pearson, he's there, he's gone, he's there, he's gone. But somehow he comes there into the 3rd spot, just nearly missing that 26-second bracket.
Yeah, but very, very close. And again, I'm just looking at the timing tables at how competitive everything is. We're separated by these top 23 cars that have gone through are separated by about 0.6 of a second. So if you think about 0.6 of a second separating 23 people, you could put them probably side by side all the way up and down the racetrack and just right there at the start finish. And it'd be really, really close. I think it's going to be such good racing once we get on track. Once we get through this qualifying session, this 185 laps is going to move very, very quickly.
Yeah, typically the SSRL races, of course, we have the limited fuel load, which we will get into a little bit later in our race details, but our limited fuel loads and the tire sets that we have available. That does put a lot of strategy into these races. Maybe not so much at the plate tracks that we've had the last 2 weeks, but I would almost imagine there will be some difficult decisions made on pit road here this evening. But we have Cody Richardson, who is going to be the first of the trio at sorts here to take his first lap. And again, these are all the fastest guys, so we'll see how long Schaefer can keep that provisional pole 4 coming off turn 4 here. Taking the stripe, it's going to be a 24, so that is just outside of the top 10 for the number 46 car. Hickson coming through right now through 3 and 4. Let's see what he can run.
Yeah, Hickson trying to run through, trying to find some time here. He finds a good time there. P2 for Mr. Hickson, coming across with a 26.97. So just by 100th of a second, nicks out that P2. But Cody Richardson does actually, no, he does not have another lap to respond. This is his end lap for what I'm seeing on my timing. But Jake Hickson, good time, and he still has another lap to go.
Yeah, so there was Brandon Edstrom there. I'm not sure if he had an issue on his lap or if he just aborted entirely on his own volition there, but did not take a time that I can see there. So not sure what was up there or if I just missed it, but also plausible as well, trying to do a lot of things here at once. But next sequence of drivers, we got Matt Long on the number 28. Ty Ippolito, our points leader, as well as the muscle man Johan Seminario.
Ty Ippolito is going to be a good one to watch if you are looking for someone to have a favorite at. It's going to, of course, be the current points leader is always someone you can root for. 2 top 10s, a top 5. Hasn't won a race yet, but is consistent, and sometimes that consistency can get you where you need to go. So Ty Ippolito, if you're trying to pick a driver and you don't know who to keep your eye on, is a good bet here for this race. Coming across the line, not in a bad position either as he comes through. And man, it throws me off that they moved that start finish line how they did. I've got to get used to this track.
Yeah, we're on about 3 years of it in the sim, but I can't say that I've taken much to it. But Matt Long here, I'm going to go. I know Matt Long. I've covered him for a couple years now. That has to be a throwaway. That is not a Matt Long lap. And then Johan gets a 93. Is that top of the board? It is going to be close. It is. Johan Seminario, top of the board.
Johan Seminario just nice and relaxed through. And now, of course, we have Matt Long who's coming around. And you said that that was not a Matt Long lap. This is going to be the chance to respond and answer. So that looks more representative of a Matt Long lap. That's a 27.02. Good enough for P5. Didn't crack into the 26s, but is in a very, very good position there as he comes around finishing his lap. And, of course, Ty Ippolito, who is sitting in P14, which is an interesting position, not impossible to win from, but is not the position that you would think he'd be up at. But again, sometimes you win the championships on consistency, and we're early enough in the season that sometimes these early races can just be throwaways if you're not as comfortable with the track.
Yeah, exactly that. So we'll see what it is here with the next in the most colorful vehicle on circuit here tonight. I believe it's going to be RJ Raymond Root in that number 77, and he is going to use every last bit of that pavement here and cut that dog leg, come back onto the track. And it's difficult, Bradley, because you have to cut the track obviously to shorten it, but you still have to get back on the track to give yourself the proper corner entry, or you're going to hurt yourself and negate anything that you gained.
Yeah, the racing line at Phoenix, especially since it turned into a parking lot central, it's very, very unique. And if it's not something you've tried,
whoa! 87, RJ Root.
Oh, that came out of nowhere.
And so did this. 74 from Alex Murray. So that pole lasted all of about 0.6 of a second here. But then Andrew Dyson, that's a throwaway. So I'm going to follow this entire lap because that was certainly a throwaway. I'm almost certain he was fastest in practice. He is the road course ace, being a V8 supercar driver, an Aussie, and taking to this car. He's been really gaining on these ovals and competitive everywhere we go. It's fast in practice, throwaway lap. Here comes the banger. Is it good enough? No. But still second.
Yeah, second place is not a bad place to be, especially start on the front row. Not a bad decision there from Andrew Dyson running that up. And some of these drivers just want to take that extra warm-up lap. It's sometimes it's just a mindset thing for the drivers. They run that warm-up lap, and then instead of running 2 hard push laps, they'll do kind of a faster medium pace lap, if you want to call it that, sort of more closer to what you would think is race pace, and then they wind up in that final lap. They just send it through.
Yeah, just enough to put something on the board, but not enough to totally kill the tires. Now, I think everybody has run. There are 4 drivers who have yet to turn a lap. One of them is race control, and I believe the other 3 did have problems here. So we are kind of just waiting out for the session changeover here. So I'll use this as an opportunity to thank everyone for tuning in here to PTRTV. If it's your first time, don't make it your last. Hit that like and subscribe button here. We are already doing some very big things here, and of course looking to do a lot more here as a busy season of content presents itself here on the channel. But the session changeover has happened. These guys are going to get themselves down and ready for a starting lineup, and you know what we're going to do? We're going to go ahead and join them. Let's give you that PTRTV starting lineup here today from the Phoenix International Raceway. No, we're not, because I caught myself again. We have a warm-up. One of these times I'm going to remember that we have a warm-up, but it's not today.
Yeah, and you know, somebody's going to be asking out there, and I'm just going to go ahead and address it. Why is there a warm-up? Sometimes the drivers just need a couple minutes to get a few laps under their belt and just get warmed back up, especially if you're one of those drivers who went very, very early in that qualifying session. You've been sitting for 15, 20 minutes, so you're going to want to do a couple laps and kind of get the blood flow and get things moving and just get nice and comfortable and be ready to log in for these 185 laps here at Phoenix, because 185 laps is a long time. There's of course 1 stage break, and so that will be their moment to reset mid-race, but 185 laps is a long race for them, and they need to be ready to go and be nice and warmed up. It's just like if you're going to exercise, you don't just jump in and work out. You work your way up. You might start with a treadmill.
Speak for yourself. I like to do all that, pull a muscle, and then complain about it afterwards. That tends to be my strategy. That
I respect that.
Has not worked out, and I'm also a little disappointed. Again, I'm just going to throw it on week 13 because I spent probably a good half hour tweaking some cameras and adding some really cool shots in, and none of them have saved, even though I saved them. So a little bit disappointed on that. But again, we'll show our warm-up here. We'll again show our Brady Bunch wall of drivers here on the evening. Oh, Dave Fuge has given us a much closer view. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'll let your decision be the one there. But Jordan Sailors, Seminario, Edstrom, Fuge, Schroeder, and Stevens, our camera drivers here. And I love that RGB. We got the 2 RGB blue rooms there on the bottom with Schroeder and Stevens there. But that is our wall of drivers we'll be checking up on here in the evening. And again, just 3 minutes of warm-up, that last bit of practice here that'll carry us on in. And again, our weather conditions here, I know you talked about this being a today race there, Bradley, so we're going to be racing around, what is it, 4 o'clock sim time, I think, give or take? Or is it...
give or take, somewhere in that area.
So I'm trying to think here. We're probably going to, you know, the sun's going to go down, the track's going to get cooler, but I mean, barring an absolutely catastrophe of a race, I do not think we'll be having the lights on here at all tonight.
Yeah, I'm not anticipating it at all. Just kind of looking at how things are set up. It's around 4 o'clock in sim right now, and we're looking about a 2-hour race for these 185 laps, maybe a little bit faster than that, hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on cautions, depending on how things set up for these drivers and what happens. But as you said, barring anything crazy, this should be just a nice sunny afternoon race that these drivers get to just run through and enjoy.
Exactly that. So, you know, we had at what was it? It was 2 weeks ago at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Myself and Andre covered the Truck Series race, and the irony of it was scheduled as a night race, and whether the admin was just playing, you know, meanie to everybody or it was a genuine mistake, it ended up being a day race, and everybody was completely thrown on their roof, because when you're expecting one set of conditions and you have another, you know, that car or truck in that instance can't just react on a dime. You're kind of up to a creek and you have to figure it out on your own. So these guys will hope that The track doesn't change too radically here over the course of the evening, but currently on the top of the warm-up standings, we do have Alex Murray in that number 22, so we will see the difference between race pace and qualifying pace here as these guys dial up those hot lap setups.
Yeah, and somebody's going to be asking and saying, well, why does it matter what time of day it is in the sim? Why does it matter what day it is, what the weather is? Remember, with this Master Series, these drivers run open setup, so they build the setup for the car to what's comfortable to them. And if you think about that, the difference in 10 degrees on track temperature can be as much as half a pound of pressure in a tire for some of these drivers, depending on how they like their car. Do they like a loose car? Do they want a tight car? How do they want the car to act on entry, on exit? That's where this Master Series really tests these drivers and what they can do. So that is why knowing the weather, knowing the time of day, and knowing what's going on the track is so important to these drivers, and it's gonna really show who's dialed that setup in right or wrong as it goes through. We're almost through warm-up, and once we get through warm-up, it's 185 laps of action, and I'm excited, Corey.
Yeah, we'll certainly have a great show with some very A-list drivers here on the iRacing service. So I already did my end of session, start of grid prelude speech, so I don't need to do that again. All we got to do is wait for that timer to click over, and then I will go and bump the music. And you know what we'll do tonight? We'll risk the copyright infringement, and we're going to go play the ESPN Speed World starting lineup here today from the Phoenix International Raceway. Starting on today's front row with that lap time of 26.743, it's going to be the Chevrolet of Alex Murray with Andrew Dyson to the outside. Row number 2 is going to find RJ Root, and then Johan Seminario out of Peru in 4th. Then we have Reese Schaefer in 5th, Jake Hickson in that 6th spot. 7th is the Ford of Kyle Westwood, Matt Long down there in 8th, and then rounding out our top 10, we got Neil Pearson, the Aussie, and then Joseph Causey in 10th.
Yeah, moving on from that, it is going to be Bobby Anderson and Robert Bisal Jr. moving into our next row, 11th and 12th. It's Kendall Leveron and Matthew Cisna starting on the next row of the grid here. 15th place finds Thomas Komazeki, and then Kevin Zosiak in P16. Looking from there, it's Ty Ippolito in P17 and Cody Richardson in 18th place. From there, P19 is Justin Levine and Andrew Kotska in P20.
21st finds Tanner Marty, and then Chad Kibbe the Shoe in 22nd. I think we're going to have to do this pretty quick. Waldo Walden, Dave Fuge, Josh Campbell, Ben Stevens, R. Scott Schroeder, Chad Gunningsman, and then just rounding out our field quickly is Sailors Sanner. Ryback, Kramerborg, and Edstrom, and Glatfelter is the admin, because I think we only get one pace lap here, unless the admin want to be nice to us and give us two. I think we only get one. Very quickly, our race details here. Our stage caution is on lap 75, 60% fuel load, 4 sets of Goodyears to change in the pits, and of course our open setups here on the evening. And as said, we only have one quick pace lap here, so that's a pretty quick pre-race show. I'll let you take it off for us here, Bradley.
Yeah, driver's going to be side by side here. It's Murray and Dyson up on the front row, and it's going to be up to the pole sitter Alex Murray when he wants to go. We're coming around here looking for that Geico restart zone. We hit the zone, and green flag is called. You hear the drivers floor it. We come around, green flag racing. Here we go for 185 laps, and right away it is Alex Murray trying to get a run here. Andrew Dyson around the outside wants to make a difference, wants to make that pass, wants to make that outside line stick. See a little bit of almost 3-wide action back behind him, but as it goes, it is going to be Alex Murray leading lap 1 with Andrew Dyson in P2, RJ Root in P3, and you see they're trying to settle into a single file groove early on here.
They're trying to settle in the back of the pack. The top 10 has gotten themselves in single file formation, but same cannot be said for the back of the pack, as here they come and flailing out there on the 75 million feet of pavement to the inside, but they all have to funnel back to approximately 2, maybe 3 lanes for turn number 3. And speaking of 3 lanes, look at there in the back of the pack. That is roughly the 12th, 14th-ish spot. You got Justin Levine, one of our top dogs. He's on the bottom of a 3-wide sandwich right now. That is the number 69 in the middle of Thomas Kalmasecki, rather. On the top of the circuit is Matthew Cisna here, and you can see that's Zosiak there, along with the 46 just further back, and all these guys trying to settle out, but they've been 3 wide for almost 2 consecutive laps.
Yeah, Justin Levine is not giving up there, and that number 69 in the mix of Thomas Komolzecki is just in a dangerous spot. You don't want to be the middle car in the 3-wide sandwich if you can help it. You see they've started to kind of open things up. They're going back to 2 here, but on the inside there, Justin Levine is gonna want to make the pass as fast as possible. You still see people a little bit crazy back behind him. That is going to be the number 46 that I see there of Cody Richardson, who was dropping a little lower. And again, those track limits here at Phoenix, it opens up to some really exciting racing, but sometimes these drivers really run the track limits ragged, and you can get 3, 4, 5 wide, and then they got to bunch it back up before the corner.
Yeah, that is the statement there. Is they have to bunch it back in, which is sometimes the point of contention there. Ty Ippolito, our points leader, he had a pretty big wiggle there off turn number 4, pays the price for it, falls back about 2-3 spots. There's Chad Kibbe a little bit further back here. I saw the 39. Where's Waldo? Waldo was right to hit the left rear of the shoe there, but luckily evades the contact. But as we go back to the front of the field, Alex Murray by 3/4 of a second approximately has that lead over Andrew Dyson. RJ Root seeming to be stalking the prey there of Andrew Dyson, trying to find a way around. But this is one of those tracks there, Bradley, where there's not a concrete way to pass, because if you go down low, you lose your momentum, you get pinched. If you go on the top, you leave a door open for someone to fill it in on the bottom. It's very circumstantial, and you really have to be very intelligent on where you make that pass.
Yeah, I think in terms of passing, this is a driver's circuit for passing. This is, what is your preferred way? Do you like to go to the inside, or do you want to hang it around outside and make it work? The drivers get to dictate what they do here, and it's going to create some fun moments as we have our first caution thrown here.
First caution looks... Did you say the curse does not exist? I believe you uttered those words.
I uttered no such thing. You cannot prove or deny it, and please do not go back and clip it from the broadcast, everyone watching.
He went on the so that is reason to not go on the apron. He got loose on the banking transition, which is more than what you would think, and that caused him into a little spin, of which seemingly, you know, got him out of all sorts of wits there and into the wall. We do have pit stops already, which is very surprising this early, but you have to remember, with a 60% fuel load, whatever you can do to get maybe a little bit extra, you know, that you never know when those extra 2-3 laps are going to come into play here. So making that pit call a little bit early here. Reese Schaefer, you know, he was coming out of the 7th or so spot. You have Kazi here, and you have Levine as well. That's a shocker. He was in the 20 or so spot, so yeah, I guess where's the risk at that point?
Yeah, if you're further back in the race, you can afford to make a riskier pit strategy and to kind of call an audible here. I don't think that's a horrible decision. Of course, we're only 8 of 185 through, 9 of 185 through now, but you know, when you're further back in the field, it's not as much of a risk for you to say, you know what, let's run off strategy to everyone and see what happens. Because it's the worst that happens is you end up where you already were. And if you were further back, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, as long as you don't get caught into a wreck there. Our first free pass of the evening, zooming by on the outside, that is Mr. Gunningsman. Not sure what happened to him. May have missed it, or maybe he missed the grid or some kind of technical issue on the start, but either way, he will get what he lost back. He'll have to recoup the track position, but at least he is now on the same lap as the leaders here. But we did have as well R. Scott Schroeder, who was one of our cam drivers. Something also happened to him. Again, we didn't catch it. I don't have any immediate triggers to show what happened to him, but a seemingly quick exit from tonight's race.
Yeah, I didn't see what happened either, so hopefully it's nothing too crazy, no big issues taking out Scott Schroeder here early on, but that is going to be a race written off. As we're coming around here behind the pace car, it looks like the lights are off from my side, so I think we're about to get back green flag racing here to continue into these 185 laps.
Yeah, indeed the case here. Well, or actually, I still have us on 2 to go, but
maybe I was wrong.
Yeah, well, we still have our lights on here, but either way, we'll get ourselves going. So again, we are on race number 2. So kind of just as a little summary of what is going to be going on with PTRTV in this series. So we are going to be covering, of course, all of the Master Series, all of the Truck Series. There was a little bit of a decision process made with the Premier Series, which was meant to be the Xfinity cars. It was going to be filled in on Mondays, but now it is going to be on Tuesdays. And as if you do follow the channel, you know we have our Mustang series, so we can't cover it, and I don't know if they were able to fill in a gap. Tuesdays is a very difficult broadcast day, so tentatively the Xfinity series not going to be covered, but we will do our best to at least get the results of them when they happen, to at least let you guys know what is going on over there. But you'll want to stay tuned for the next Truck Series race, which I believe to be this coming Wednesday. With as many broadcasts as we have, I can't get my calendar right 95% of the time, but make sure you stay tuned for that. Actually, at March 13th, we'll be at Bristol. We will be at Thunder Valley this coming Wednesday, so stay tuned for that event. But coming down into the most awkward restart zone in racing, you basically have to run 3/4 of a lap without the pace car, all by yourself down this, what used to be the back straightaway, well, what used to be the front straightaway is now the back straightaway, into 3 and 4. Now we're in the Geico restart zone. Now we're going to get fired up on the accelerator of Alex Murray. Green flag in the air, and we'll try that once more.
Yeah, we're back underway after that really, really awkward run. And look at that number 56. Seminario around that side wants to get a run very, very quickly, trying a little bit different of a line there. Didn't make it stick, but further back in the field, plenty of action to follow around here further back as we see that number 18 car, Bobby Anderson, who is trying to hold on there around the outside as it's 3 wide ahead. It's coming through side by side. He's going to make it 3 wide. Number 3 in the middle. And the 3 and the 27 come together, and there's a big wreck across the start-finish line. Caution, lap 13. Caution
out as a huge wreck there. 46 car involved as well, but it just seemed like 3 cars that were going to the top of the racetrack, and they all went to the top of the racetrack at the same time, and unfortunately that did not work for any of them, and I think there was some minor acrobatics there at play as well. So unfortunate once again to be under the caution flag. We'll try to get a replay of this if we can. I know the 3 car again was a part of it. That was Bissau. Oh yeah, this will be a good view of it if I can get it to queue here. My overlay software is not playing nicely. There it is. There was contact on the bottom, 27 to the 3. Bobby Anderson, just innocent bystander here. And then down that front straightaway, you could see everybody else trying to get their way by.
I have to wonder if a little bit of that wasn't netcode, or if it was just that side draft pulling up the 27 into the 3. I don't know what really caused that, but all I know is the poor number 18, the innocent bystander there, Bobby Anderson, his race night is ruined because that car can just be sent to a scrapyard.
Yeah, and unfortunately the virtual team has to drive it all the way back across the country in its decrepit now state. But you can see his view. Yep. You know what that reminds me of on a very, very rudimentary scale? That reminds me of Jeff Bodine's wreck at Daytona in 2000. Because he was just cruising along on the outside, minding his P's and Q's, minding his own business, and then all of a sudden he finds himself into the fence because of what happened beneath him.
Unfortunately, sometimes if you're on the high line, that's just what you get, especially if you're going 3 wide. And I will say, lap 13 is probably not the time to be taking something 3 wide either way. And it is a little bit of an instance of these drivers just have to think of that. You got to think, this is a 185 lap race. This is going to be a long running race. Just reel it back a little bit, guys. Just let's tick off some laps. Let's get some time under our belt, and then let's go through. But sometimes all it takes is just one guy to get a little bit of a wiggle there, send the middle car up to the outside, and then it just collects whoever's behind him that can't avoid it.
Yeah, there's always the age-old saying of, you know, you just got to buy some laps. You just got to tick them off. It might be boring. It might you might have to stick behind someone that, you know, maybe you think you're faster than, but you're struggling to get by. So you know what? Just ride. Just learn. Just kind of see what's happening. This is not a short race, so. But we'll see what happens. You know, the odds of circumstance will come into play, because the more that you wreck, the less cars that are competitive, therefore the less cars that should be able to wreck on subsequent cautions. So we should kind of get a little spread out sense. But we also talked in pre-race there, Bradley, that there's just something about this track from a virtual perspective. It spreads out a lot in real life, but for some reason, Phoenix in the sim, I've been on the sim for 15 years, I can count on about one hand how many clean, good, just smooth, minimal issue races I've ever had here. It's just one of those tracks.
I don't know what it is about Phoenix that does that, though. That's the thing. In real life, this track does not have that reputation. So I don't know what it is about Phoenix in iRacing that causes that. I've been sitting here racking my brain. Now, there is the saying, cautions breed cautions. That is a conversation that everyone's heard. Everyone's heard the saying, cautions breed cautions, if you've been around motorsports for any period of time. But even like looking at our Brady Bunch wall here of our 5 drivers that are out, you could ask them, and I'm sure they can't tell you what it is about Phoenix that really makes the issues, because I can't. I've been in racing for a while. You've been around the sim for 15 years. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'll even go back to Legacy Phoenix when we had grass here, and this place was actually a little bit more normal to drive, and it was still difficult to have a clean race. It's just the curse of the desert. I guess that's just the way that we have to designate that fact here. But Alex Murray, he's been getting the restarts he needs to get. RJ Root down to the outside with Pearson and Seminario encompassing row number 2 here. So Barney will get them ready and raring in that restart zone. And there goes the famous leader jump. He gets it, and they will battle for second and flail off down the front straightaway.
Yeah, Alex Murray wasting no time to get away, but behind him, side-by-side action all the way through. You can see a little bit of 3 wide, 4 wide even, near the very back of the grid, but everybody's seeming to make their way most of the way through here as they come around, and it is caution yet again before
Dyson.
I can say it.
Andrew Dyson, he was up there, and I don't know how he fell so far back, but he was up there in practice, up there in qualifying, but now he finds himself sideways here, and we will try and sort out what happened to him on this, what I believe to be 3rd caution of the race. Oh yeah, he was, to quote the famous iRacing streamer that we cover here on our Mustang series, he was in a gaggle.
Yeah, that is, it looks like 46 there was just a little loose.
Now how, we'll have to go from a different perspective here, but I don't, so the wreck happened kind of in front of him here. Now let's just pause here. We'll get focused on him, and we'll go to our blimp cam. I think this will probably be the most telltale story here. You can see the 46 was kind of all over the place, kind of getting damaged. The 27, 46 made contact. Now you think he's fine? It was when the 27 kind of came up the track, it kind of squished the bread in the sandwich there, I guess, if you want to use that terminology there, and that put him in that precarious position. Now, luckily for Dyson, no harm, no foul, no damage. Just loses the track position. He'll come in the pits. As roughly half the field has at this point. He's going to put left side tires on at this point. So we've had roughly half the field. We'll come into the pits. We'll put our stint graphic up on the ticker. You can see 20 laps, so that is the majority of the top 15, but as the bottom of the top 15 scrolls by, you can see 3, 4, 5 laps. So we do have a modest amount of fuel strategy going on, with our stage again being at lap 75, if memory serves.
Yeah, lap 75 is where the stage comes through. So I like that strategy is starting to come into play. I don't like that we're on our 3rd caution, but I do like that strategy is starting to come to play, especially for those drivers further back in the field, that they're starting to set things up. They're thinking about long-term. Now, if we could just get some green flag running here, tick off these laps and let these guys get some time under their belt, because that's the other thing too. These drivers are probably just like, man, I want to go. I want to get this race going. But we're lap 21 of 185 here, trying to go, and it just seems like it's one thing after another, and most of it is just bad luck for a lot of these drivers.
Well, next week's race, actually, I don't quite know, because I was, by stereotype, I want to say, well, if you don't like cautions, don't watch next week because it's Bristol, but Bristol on the sim has a very weird way of actually going green for quite a significant amount of time, because it is surprisingly multi-groove. We don't have virtual PJ1 here on the service, but in the time that I've watched and raced Bristol, I would think that there is, because that inside lane can rip. So we do have a 300 lapper. That is probably a series long one there that we have next week. So you'll want to stay tuned for that. It'll be Bristol in the trucks and in the Masters series, and then we will have another week off and then head to 2 weeks that are not a common fit for this car. We go to Lucas Oil Raceway at the end of March, so these guys will need to dial in the setups for there, and then in the beginning of April we'll take these next gens to Motegi, which of course we had the special invitational there in 1998 and 1999, so not completely far-fetched to have NASCAR there, but we certainly haven't taken next gens there.
Glen Ring Motegi is such a unique track, and I'm really, really excited to see how these cars handle and how they handle through. The whole season is a very, very good setup, looking at just all the way to the end of the season, but they, of course, have to make it that far, and as of right now, we're 22 laps of 185 here in Phoenix, getting ready to be lap 23 as we come around here through turns 3 and 4, getting ready to take the green flag yet again, hit the Geico restart zone, and Alex Murray doing the classic leader jump here, and Alex Murray is away going, and it's the battle for P2 that you have to watch out there. Seminario on the inside and Root on the outside. It is going to be Root taking the outside line there, trying to hold on RJ Root, and he does get the run there, so RJ Root settles it back into P2, and we're already under caution yet again. I did not see what caused that one.
I'm looking at my back end data and just kind of panning through, and nothing strikes out to me either there, so
looks like it was the shoe Chad Gibby
oh
and
yeah, we do see
Jason Cracky.
Do see some heavy damage to his machine, Chad Kibbe that is, so I'll take a little gander here and try to sort out what may have happened to him. We'll just, and I don't have any instantaneous data to help me with this one, so we're just, oh, there it was, but it was below the apron line, so it just took a little bit longer for that caution to come out here, but we'll try once more. We'll go on board with him. The contact with the 54. Oh yeah, when the 54. I'm kind of surprised he didn't.
Looks like it was the 54 and the 27, maybe, if I can tell.
A little unresponsive there from Kibbe, in my opinion. He was a little unresponsive to what was going on there. But either way, that puts us under a yellow flag, and it's nothing that we like doing, especially this early in the race. But to avoid rambling and allowing ourselves to refill our drinks, we're just going to go to a brief side-by-side. We'll be back with you for the restart, so please stay with us. we're back here for a restart here. Alex Murray, per usual, our control vehicle, and he'll get that leader jump and fire off into the abyss of turn number 1, and we'll watch the battle going on, the flailing going out, and let's see if we can get ourselves going here on this restart.
Tell you what, Alex Murray really just wants this to stay green. He's been so comfortable, so consistent all the way through, and is just running that car ragged. I mean, he is trying to just get the laps down and get things going, and then everybody behind him is just settling things up. So I'll tell you right now, if these drivers are all in a chat together, he's been on the radio and he's been yelling and saying, guys, can we get these laps going? I've got a race to win, and I've been leading as long as possible, and I'd like to get going a little bit more.
Yeah, the leader is the one that always wants the race to get going because he just wants to drive off, while presuming that he's on the right tire strategy anyways, which of course he is there. But you can see the 45 on screen. That's Jordan Sailors trying to get by Justin Levine there in that 1. Levine is currently behind, that's Andrew Kotzka in that 47 car. We got a little bit of battling going on up front, or at least within the top 5. They're side by side entering turn number 1. I think that is the number 88 car of Joseph Causey. He was taking a look underneath the 28 of Matt Long to no avail, but looks like we have a battle for second shaping up here. Johan underneath RJ.
Yeah, I think Johan does have a little bit more pace than RJ, as I've been watching them go through and kind of just keeping track. Every restart, it seems like Johan's gotten the run, but hasn't been able to get the pass done on RJ. But he's setting things up very, very comfortably here and trying to get things done. Same thing with that number 88 of Joseph Causey, and another caution out, caution number 5 here on the race day, lap 31. And it looks like it might be our points leader.
Is it Zodiac? No. Well, Zodiac was well off the pace there, so not. We will sort something out here, I suppose. Did you say you had an inkling there, yeah, Bradley?
Yeah, it was Ty Ippolito. I'm trying to tell you guys down on him.
Oh, this is the second time today we've had an issue with the 27 car, Matthew Cisna. So we're into the inside of turns 3 and 4 here. And Ippolito, that might be an age-old case of who came up, who came down. And here in our Judge Judy courtroom, we'll find out. 27 got loose, came down the track very slightly, and it was just enough. And unfortunately for Ippolito, just kissed the back of that pit wall there, but I don't think enough to cause too many issues here. But we do have him and a few others in the pit. So while we are under our umpteenth caution here on the evening, let's go ahead and drag one of these guys up here for a little interview of sorts here. We'll go ahead and try to find our race leader here. I should probably have remembered where he came from. I think it was Phantom Sim Sports there. All right, in the booth we got Alex Murray, Corey, and Bradley. You got us, bud?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, so the yellow flag is the name of the game here in the desert, but you've been getting them restarts from the pole, and you've been getting a good lead for the 10 seconds we get to race for. So what's it?
Yeah.
How's that car driving thus far, from what you could tell?
It's been really good so far. I mean, Team Conti Sim Performance has set us up really well. We got 3 of us up here in the top 3, and a couple others back there not too far behind, so looking good so far, but got a long way to go here.
All right, yeah, exactly that. And of course, we obviously known to seeing you in the 100% series. So coming here to SSRL this year, you got the limited fuel load, you got the abbreviated races, the limited tire sets. What's the difference the biggest difference you've noticed in how the big strategy has changed from one season to another with the different leagues?
I mean, you said it yourself. Strategy is the biggest thing. I mean, usually in a 100 Cup, we'd pretty much there were pretty much 2 strategies. You either run along or you try to undercut people. Here you kind of have to watch everybody and see what everybody's doing. That way you can try to stay ahead of the game. Otherwise you're going to end up 20th on back, depending on how strategy works out. So strategy is really huge, and then saving tires also a really big deal here, because you can take tires in the first stage, you can save a set, you can wait until the end of the race to take tires and hope to go to the front. So strategy is definitely a huge deal here.
Yeah, well, we'll see what you can do, man. And I'd be lying if I said I remember what room I grabbed you out of. So if
yeah. It's Phantom.
All right, my guess would have been right, man. All right, well, let's get back at it, and we'll see if we can get some racing out of this one.
Yeah, I hope so. Appreciate it, guys.
So next time we grab someone out of the booth, we are both going to remember where he came from. And because I have done that before. I have dragged someone into the wrong radio channel. And let's just say that doesn't always end well because they think it's intentional. But it's just broadcasters who aren't paying enough attention here. But, well, you know, there's one thing we'll get to do here, Bradley. We'll get to play. This is the first time me and Andre play it. We get to play our yellow flag game. So I explicitly on the overlays do not put on the ticker what caution it's at, because that gives us the opportunity to play a guessing game. So the more yellows we have, the more interesting the guessing game is. So that'll just be something that we potentially can look forward to. Hopefully not, but at least it's something if it keeps going. But this is going to be the restart. I'm calling it. I'm feeling it. This is going to be the one that gets us on a streak of green flag racing. So Alex Murray is going to enter that Geico restart zone. Everyone show your confidence. Everyone agree with me. Here we go. We're going to get going. This is the clean restart. Back in the air. Let's go racing here at Phoenix.
Tell you what, Seminario had bumped the leader there off the restart. He tried to anticipate it and just wasn't there. And then behind him there, after you get past RJ there, Seminario, Pearson, Long, Causey, Hickson, they're kind of setting 2 by 2, just trying to keep things moving, keep things going. They seem very, very nice and relaxed. You see a little bit of chaos further back in the field here, but for the most part, what I can see, everybody is settling in a little bit. I'm sure race control has been in somebody's ear saying, hey, let's bring it down about 5%. And as I say that, I can see people starting to take it 3 wide, 4 wide here, going into turn number 2 and around. But everybody settles it back in 2 wide, and they are just all jockeying for position. But Justin Levine is going to be one that I'm keeping my eyes on because he is absolutely pushing that number 1 car around.
Yeah, Justin Levine, he has many different you know, ways to his game. Sometimes he just up and dominates. Sometimes he just finds his way there at the end. So today he seems like he's going to have to fight and claw his way through the field, and he's trying to do that stuck behind. That is Westwood in the number 84, who is to the outside of Jake Hickson. Looks like a little bit of contact between those two may have occurred there off of turn number 2 here. And again, everyone just, they have different braking zones, Bradley, and between different braking zones and then getting loose, and here we go again.
Hi, Ippolito again.
Oh, our points leader.
In the wall on the backstretch. So, I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but that is who it was at least.
The number 11 car, it's not Denny, it is Casey Ryback there was, I think that may have been another case of who came up, who came down.
Man, Ty Polito can't catch a break today.
No, can't catch a break indeed. It's kind of hard to call that one if I'm honest. So, well, I don't want to go to another commercial yet, so we will, I will leave the radio powers to you there, Bradley. If you want to grab someone, we can have a quick chat.
Yeah, let's see who we can grab here. I'd say Ty Polito, but I don't think that's a good option. Let's grab RJ Root here. Just, if we can find RJ and see.
Well, let's remember where he came from first. Let's find his home. He's in Phantom, so the teammates with Alex Murray.
Okay, awesome. So that should work perfectly well then. So let's grab RJ. Hey, RJ, it's Bradley and Corey in the booth. How do you hear?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Awesome. RJ, how's P2 treating you here? You've been fighting for P2 really hard, trying to get the run on Murray. How's the restarts treating you?
Restarts have been doing pretty good. You know, just kind of, it's just a fight into 1, and I hope that I'm at least even with Johan. I can clear him out of 2, but you know, it's just fun. I'm kind of just wanting to chill here behind Alex and just log some laps.
As a driver, the consistent cautions, of course, we're on a number of cautions at this point. How does that affect you, especially if you're wanting to kind of settle in for a longer run?
On our 4th restart, I forgot to shift into 5th down the front stretch. So, I mean, it kind of threw me off in that sense, but I mean, I'm getting my restarts down pretty packed. Stayed pretty even with Alex that last one.
Yeah, last question for you. Me and Corey were talking about this. What is it with Phoenix that makes it have so many cautions?
It's just a weird shape. There's no other tracks that are as similar. Like, it's not a cookie cutter racetrack where there's another track that's similar. It's so different. So, you know, it takes a different mentality to race this track than any other track, which is part of the reason why I love it so much.
Gotcha. I think it's interesting to hear you say that you love this track, because it doesn't seem like one that a lot of drivers would love. So it's cool to hear a driver say, hey, I love this track going forward. Getting ready to go through, so I'm going to let you go. Good luck here on this restart. See if you can hang it around and get that pass for the lead.
Thank you.
Oh, that wasn't. Yeah. Don't put Corey in charge of the radios.
And then where did he come from here?
Yeah.
Let's get him back with his teammates.
Yeah, he's good. Now I have to make a terrible joke. You ready?
Go for it.
So you told RJ, how do you hear, right?
Yeah.
And you know how badly I was trying to hold back out of my ears?
I was hoping somebody would make the joke.
Yeah. If there's a dad joke on the tee, I will swing every last time. But Alex Murray, the restart king. RJ Root, he has tried to become the second place king here, because getting the lead from a restart is almost impossible, and it will still prove to be impossible because he has the run now. As RJ said, he's going to try to maintain second, try to stay side by side with Johan entering turn number 1. If he can do so, he could probably wrap the outside, and he'll do exactly that. So he'll retain second. But that's not what we're worried about. We're worried about this gaggle turning into a normality here and letting us get some racing underway.
Yeah, Westwood in the background and Kazi in the background there had a good run. I was kind of keeping my eyes on them too as we were watching to see how that fight for the lead for that P2 developed. And look at that, hard on the inside. You would think that he has a run, is Joseph Kazi there in the 88. But as he slots back in, you can see he doesn't have as much of a run as it seems. Again, it's just that unique nature of this track. We're riding on board here with Cody Richardson, who gets all the action ahead. And for Cody Richardson, you really just want to settle in. You just want to hang out, because Cody Richardson has Brandon Edstrom ahead and Matthew Cisna behind. Matthew Cisna has some good pace, but again, you just need to tick the laps down. You don't want to do any sort of crazy decisions early on here and anything too wild. So just settle in, guys. Let's get some laps down and get things going here.
Now, who do we have here knocking on the edge of the top 10? That's Andrew Dyson. Remember, he started the race in a pretty good starting spot, but then had that issue in 3 and 4, went all the way to the back, and now has himself within, actually, no, now he's in the top 10. Now he's in the 9th spot. So doing a great job there to recover. All the cautions certainly helped his cause out here, him coming down the front straightaway. But one thing to bring up, I mean, obviously, as we just about go 3 wide with Justin Levine here, underneath the 74 of Edstrom, pit strategy may come into play here, because as we bring up the stint graphic, there still is a handful of guys who have yet to pit. So they will have saved a ton of fuel because they haven't been going full throttle for a long time, but there could be quite a big disparity in pit cycles if and when that green flag run ever comes into fruition.
Yeah, I think this might be the green flag run to the stage break. I think these drivers have finally settled in. They've got the jitters out, and I think they've gotten enough laps under their belt at this point between practice, qualifying, and our 5 restarts, 6 restarts, whatever number of restarts we've had at this point. So that way they can settle in and get a run. We're getting single file. We're getting the racing going. Nobody's doing anything too wild yet here on this run. I don't see anyone 3 wide. I don't see any sort of crazy action happening. Even mid-pack and backpack, it's just too wide or single file running. Everybody is just wanting to settle into a groove. And again, it's what we talked about at the top of the race. It's ticking these laps off and getting things going.
Do see some a little bit of smoke here. Not sure where it stems from, but nothing that luckily will raise the heads of the caution flag. So continuing on just now, and on screen a little bit further back than we have been showing here on the evening. That is the 69 car. He was battling with the 44 Dave Fugen at number 44, and just behind that, a little side-by-side battle, the two of Kendall Levron. We haven't showed him all day, but he is making a pass on Ben Stevens, the Atlanta winner. So I don't know if Ben Stevens, maybe he's just a plate guy and doesn't quite have the package here for this circuit, but he will do the best he can. Also, one of our cam drivers here is Ben Stevens, trying to see what he can do there from that 20 or so position here. But back to our other cameras here, and up front, again, not missing too much there, and it looks like the battles have strung out, which I think we are happy to say that for a very rare time.
Yeah, it's nice to see the drivers sort of settle into a groove. Everybody's just relaxed and going. I don't see anything too wild happening. Andrew Dyson, Justin Levine, Brandon Edstrom, that's going to be a packet to watch here in the midfield, in the back of the top 10. Justin Levine had a moment a few laps ago and slid down a couple spots, but of course he's up 11 from where he started. Brandon Edstrom's up 23 from where he started, so drivers not in a bad position there. Kyle Westwood's down a few places. This pack here that we're looking at now on screen is going to be a place where I think if any sort of big moments happen, any sort of wild 3-wide, 4-wide action, I think it's going to be these drivers, because this is the mix of the drivers that have the most to gain and the most to lose at the same time.
Exactly that. As again, the pit strategies start to come into play now. Andrew Dyson, as we saw him slicing and dicing through the field. Dyson, see what I did there? He's dicing through the field. He is the first driver on relatively fresh tires. He pitted 28 laps ago, and basically everybody in front of him is still on their original set of tires. Now Joseph Causey, who is in the third spot there's a lot of guys having little kisses to the wall there. Joseph Causey has made one pit stop here on the evening, and that pit stop was a very short one, only about 5 seconds, so presumably he just topped off, but I would imagine unless he hired an F1 pit crew, he is still on his original tires. So watch out for that 8 car. He is, 25% through his tire allocament for the evening, which may or may not come into play later on.
Yeah, 4 sets of tires for 185 laps here. It's doable. However, you do have to make some compromises, and you have to make that strategy decision and know coming into this race, and these guys would have ran race sims. They have the math, they have the systems to calculate it out. They've ran enough sort of practice laps to figure out what they're doing and where they want to be, what laps to pit, what they want to do. Now, what throws all of that in a loop is your X number of cautions, and that can completely change up your strategy. But these drivers are smart enough. They've got good pit crews behind them, good crew chiefs, and good strategy that can set in the software, the tools, whatever they need to figure out when to pit and how to use those tires and when to push and when to not. So everybody's got the strategy cap on. I hate it when races come down to strategy, but sometimes the difference between a good race team and a bad race team is, can you change your strategy on the fly?
You say you hate when races come down to strategy. That is a very interesting take on things. I mean, I guess you like to see the guy who should win the race, I take it. Is that what the mantra would be for you?
Yeah. So think about it. Say we have Murray here. We go into lap 184, and he's got to lead by 3 to 5 seconds. Then all of a sudden his engine sputters, and he loses that race out because of, whatever thing may come down to it, because the car behind, drove 0.2 of a lap slower and was able to conserve just enough fuel to get across the line, that then blows it out of fuel when you get across the line. Well, neither of the drivers did their strategy right, because they both still ran out of fuel. One of them just ran out of fuel a millisecond later than the other, and it can get frustrating sometimes. For me personally, it's one of those things that if a driver's been very dominant and it's just something small like that costs them, it can be frustrating for the driver, and it's frustrating for me as the watcher. I like to see the drivers who have put really good pace on the board really show their craft, get it through. And you can argue, hey, strategy's a part of that, you have to get it through, but sometimes it's just kind of like, really, man, this is how this race is going to end, this is how the letdown happens.
Well, I guess if you watch the NASCAR Xfinity Series race, you would be rather upset with how that one ended. And I won't play spoilers, because close enough to when that race ended that some people may have not watched the recordings yet. But you can see on board with Alex Murray, we have our telemetry up here on screen, sponsored by, we don't have a sponsor for this segment yet, but you can see down to 4th gear, about 126 miles an hour. Does he kick it into fifth here down the backstretch? Does for about 3 seconds. Back down to fourth, because what would an oval be if you weren't shifting 4 times a lap? Always got to throw a dig in there at some point. But back to fifth gear and back up. And let's see what the top is out. Entering turn number 1. 162 miles an hour here on a 1 mile circuit.
That's crazy. When you think about 160 miles an hour here around this track, I mean, there's some speed there. And right as you got the camera, RJ Root had a little tap of the wall there on the exit of, what would that be? That's turn 3 now.
Well,
turn 2. There we go.
2 is 4 and 4 is 2, basically. So this would be turn 2, and this would be coming down the back straight. This would be grass circa 2011, which let grass come back to motorsport. Sign the petitions now. But and then we'd come through turns number 1 and 2. But here is the biggest battle on circuit. That's Matthew Sista, who I feel like he's been in like 3 cautions here today, but his car is pristine clean. So that shows the ruggedness of these next-gen cars. And what is on the hood of that number 39 car? Is that Waldo? I know it is Waldo Walden, but what is on the hood of that vehicle? This is a good sponsor plug, because it makes us curious to where we actually zoom in. So if you want a good sponsor moment here on the broadcast, have an obscure paint scheme.
Yeah, I love it. And on the hood is a dog. It is a dog. It's SGE Sports. SGE Esports, and it is a dog on the hood of the car. Very, very good sponsor decision there. So I love that. And I'm curious to ask Mr. Waldo Walden later, if we get a chance, why there is a dog on the front of this car.
Maybe it's his dog. I don't know. And I do apologize. You may notice there, again, this is week 13 technically, so with the amount of rendering changes and, graphical systems at play to make it rain here in the sim, there have been some glitches, and the motion blur, which we typically use here on the broadcast, is a little glitchy in certain instances. So perhaps on a caution I can turn that off to kind of save us from that little awkward anomaly here. But rather here nor there for the time being. But that's Andrew Kotska heading into turn number 3, whatever turn it is, turn number 2. Now you got me all screwed up. I was doing good all race. He's to the outside of Brandon Edstrom here, making a pass on the outside. So I wonder, again, we have our dynamic track system here within iRacing, so the more that they run a lane, the slower that lane gets as it loses grip, as we have a side-by-side battle for second. So now we see more people using the top. I'm wondering, now that we finally have a green flag run, maybe enough heat has gotten into that bottom lane that it is becoming advantageous to start searching around.
Well, I think we've gotten enough of a run now, too, that the drivers are starting to really feel out their cars. They're starting to see those setups change. We're moving later into the day, so everything is evolving, and it's going to be a case of how do these drivers handle that and what works for them. As we see this battle here for P2 is really, really shaping up as they exit turn 2 here side by side going through. It is Kazi on the inside. It's Root on the outside, and Kazi is really, really pushing that number 88 around.
Yes, he is. And remember, he has the slightly greater fuel cell right now. Not greater fuel cell, but he has more fuel in it, but it will be kind of all for naught. We do have to put in the back of our noggins here that our stage caution will be in about 7 laps time. Of course, our stage caution will come out as soon as we get this race back into normal procedures. So it's kind of, it's kind of how the cookie crumbles here. But here comes Johan. He's putting his hat in the ring here. He's like, well, it ain't going to be a battle if I ain't in it. And here he looks to the outside of Kazi here, as Kazi may have given up slightly on his endeavor to get RJ Root.
Yeah, look at the different lines these 3 drivers are running. And also notice that Alex Murray is starting to get reeled in just a little bit here as we go through. That gap is closing between Alex Murray and RJ Root. And then Joseph Kazi and Seminario are just right there as well. And behind them a little bit too. Don't lose track of the cars behind either. Matt Long, Andrew Dyson, and Justin Levine. They're right there in the mix. So we could see a very, very good battle shaping up. But these cars
Matt Long, is he pitting or is he running the crazy line down there? It looks like it's going to be A. He is coming to the pits under green. He is on his original fuel run. Now, I can't possibly imagine that through all these cautions he could not make it to the stage. So very interested what happened there, as we do have that side-by-side battle for second shaking back up again.
Yeah, I'll keep my eye on that long here to see if I can figure out exactly why he's through the pits. I don't know why he would go through the pits on green flag. It's very, very interesting to see that. But that battle for P2 is also very, very close. He's coming in, though. I wonder if he's...
Did he forget there's a stage in 5 laps? Like, is this the old Mark Martin card where you pit on the wrong lap or you just completely lose track of the situation? And again, your guess is at home is as good as ours here, but RJ hanging on for second. Check the announcements. Check our pre-race documentary. Do we have a stage on lap 75?
We do have a stage on lap 75. I can't confirm that.
So
he doesn't have a penalty anywhere.
So this is where we have to take A+ drivers and question them. They've had 87 million cautions to save fuel or pit, knowing there's a caution, but instead they're going to go a lap down and pit under green right before the stage.
And then he gets himself, he's a lap down, but he's right in the hornet's nest of fighting with Andrew Kotska there through. I mean, and RJ Root's in the pits.
What?
If they miscalculate their fuel and can't make the stage.
Yeah, so now all of a sudden Andrew Dyson looking like a hero right now because he is going to take the lead. Now Alex Murray, he is on that same situation. He hasn't pit, so he is still on circuit from his original fuel run, to my knowledge as well, but this is going to be the white flag for the stage here.
And pit lane is closed.
So again, this
point,
absolutely crazy turn of events here, but it's going to turn out to be actually Andrew Dyson is going to come off of 3 and 4. He pit early. He's going to have enough fuel, and he is going to have the tires to boot, and he will win the stage. And there is the caution.
Yep, stage yellow thrown out, and your stage winner, number 41, Andrew Dyson, after a interesting last 5 laps to the stage. But Andrew Dyson pulls it out and comes ahead, and yeah, I'm curious to see what happens from there. Alex Murray is straight into the pits. Joseph Causey's into the pits. Alex Murray actually completely locked up the brakes. And other than Andrew Dyson, there is a sea of cars going into this pit lane. But Andrew Dyson, take your little victory lap.
They didn't even wait until the pits formally opened. They pitted because they could not make it. So again, it makes you wonder, as we are waiting on what is now named Fred, the pace car driver. They had all those cautions. Did they forget? Did they think the stage was on a different lap? It just brings up so many questions as to why they did not pit on all those opportunities if the situation wasn't going to be present to be able to make it.
Is fuel... I should have asked.
You know what we're going to do?
70 laps?
We're just going to have to ask. We'll wait until after this sequence, and we're just going to have to ask somebody. Well,
yeah, Andrew Dyson's in. Jason Kratky is in. RJ Root finds himself up into it's currently P6 as it sits. He should move up a little bit more, though, as he's
coming back. So,
wow.
Is it going to be Joseph Causey? He stayed on track, so... do we have him available in a radio server right now? We do on One Sim Motorsports. You got that?
Yep, One Sim Motorsports.
Okay. All right, so we are going to have a brief chat. All right. Joseph Causey, is Corey and Bradley in the booth. You got us, bud?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we are just perplexed right now, and we need some answers, and hopefully you can give them to us. So you pitted at some point during those majillion cautions, got yourself fuel, you stayed out, and made yourself to the end. But then we had guys stay out the whole time and then couldn't make the stage and had to pit to the very end. Were you as confused as we were?
I knew they were pushing it. They were trying to push because we had all those cautions. I knew I was good to go by like the 3rd or 4th caution we had in a row. So I knew that they were close. And Murray was really close because he was checking up and clutched in. I could tell he clutched in, and I just dove it off into one because I knew he was clutching in.
Well, obviously it worked out. You played the conservative route and just took the fuel, and it worked out in the end. Now, you've showed some speed here, but we'll cut you off because you're going back 1 to green, man. So you have some speed. Let's see what you can do on the rest of this thing.
And hopefully we'll stay near the front.
All right, man. Good luck. All right, we are going to temporarily just cut off for a second just because I do want to fix that little motion blur anomaly here. But yeah, so we do have the knowledge here, Bradley, that you cannot go 70 laps, and you probably can't even go 60 laps based on what they're saying. So we will take heed to this information for the remainder of the event.
So if we stay green, we're thinking about 50 laps.
I'd say, yeah, 50 to 55 laps, something like that. 60 is a stretch. 75 is an ultra stretch, even with the amount of cautions we've seen here on the evening. But coming into the Geico restart zone, it is now going to be Joseph Causey and Justin Levine on the front row. Green flag in the air, and the field is shaking all up. Let's see how it coagulates back together as we fire off into turn number 1.
Yeah, you've got drivers all over the place that have been running in different positions through, but up in the front, Justin Levine in P3 here, trying to make it P2 around the outside of Alex Murray. Alex Murray, who was leading, we're already back under caution. Jake Hickson and Matt Long are the 2 names I see sticking out.
Yep, and we see, I can confirm that I see them as well. And what will the replay show? It will show a good old-fashioned... Do I want to? Do I want to roast somebody in a way that's not like mean, but just kind of funny?
Why not?
We're just gonna call the 27 the caution kid tonight.
I'm okay with that because it
wasn't really his fault in this instance, but circumstantially, it's just all that we can really say. Again, and this, I am absolving him of fault on this one, so I do want to, make heed of that. But on board with him here, you can see there's just a big old-fashioned stack up, and the dominoes just kind of played in his favor there, that he was the one that was behind when that happened, and he just couldn't really check up in time. At least that's how I took it to be.
Yeah, Matthew Cisna also now serving a black flag, so given a black flag by race control in that instance. So I wonder, stop-go penalty here. And I'm guessing that they are race control. I'm guessing has said that is gonna go back to them. So lap 82 of 185. We said it earlier, cautions breed cautions, but at this point these drivers need to break the streak and keep things going. But up in front, it's the number 88 of Joseph Causey with Justin Levine in P2 and Alex Murray in P3.
Exactly that. So we will take this opportunity to grab ourselves another glass of water, go to a quick break. It looks like Zodiac gets another lap back, and we'll be back with you for the restart. So stay with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to PTRTV, where we're coming around turn 3, turn 4 here, the Geico restart zone, and it is Joseph Causey, Justin Levine, Reese Schaefer, Alex Murray, your top 4 at the moment, and Alex Murray not as good on the race restarts if he's not the one setting the pace. That is what I'm taking away from this as we're going through. We're out of our up-teeth caution at this point that we've gone through, and the driver's going through. The leader is away there of Joseph Causey in that number 88. Justin Levine trying to hold outside, but Alex Murray really likes that inside line and is trying to run through, is going to settle it in, get back single file as he can, and we are away here, ticking down laps, trying to run through this 185 laps as we tick down to less than 100 to go. Of course, my name is Bradley, and Corey Silva is here with me, and we are enjoying this race and everything that it's bringing here, minus the caution flags.
Exactly that. We are on the 8th caution flag. We had a game going, but, you know, I lost my abilities to keep playing it. But here comes Andrew Dyson. He took a 3 wide to the inside of the 14 car there, as well as RJ Root. An optimistic move and made it work, so kudos for him. I saw somebody all the way down in the booties here, and that's Cissna, the caution kid. And, you know, we say this in joking manner, but I do think he had some officiating not go his way. Bradley, you may be able to comment a little bit more on that.
Yeah, I was kind of looking through, and I did see Race Control throw a black flag out for that number 27 car. I don't have all the details of what it was for, but number 27 did have to come in and serve a stop-go. Is a handful of laps down now through that caution period, but is doing well and trying to stay out of the pack's way as he is a number of laps down. He's trying to stay out of the way, but also still keep in position to get that lucky dog.
Trying to do that, indeed. We saw Zodiac, the cursed kid. He got his lap back, so he's back on the lead lap. But here is the battle. 1, 2, 3 under a blanket here. That's Justin Levine on the outside. He has Alex Murray boxed in, but Murray is going to try to go 2 for 1 here. He's going to try to go underneath Causey here, off a 2 and down the back, but Levine trying to fill the gap in and keep him boxed in, but I just think he has too much car. I think he's clear of Levine here. Yes, he is. Maybe, sorta. Yes, he is. Levine with the crossover. He's not done.
Yeah, and that's the fun of this track here in Phoenix, is that it sets up very, very unique setups going into 1, because you can drop a bit more on the banking or on the flat bottom side, whatever you want to call it, come back up, get a bit of a run, and try to get a pass into 1 and send the car around. And I've been noticing that all 3, Joseph Causey, Alex Murray, Justin Levine, run different lines into 1. Watch them here as they come through the dog leg, hit out of the start-finish straight. See how they run slightly different lines and setups into turn 1, because they're trying to get the advantage on the other person.
Caution.
And caution again. It looks like for me, I am showing Brandon Edstrom back near the back of the field.
Yes, indeed, the 74 car on the evening, and I think by his, well, he had a very interesting face about 3 seconds before I changed it. So if you're watching this live, could you make an interesting face there, Brandon? No? He's mad.
I may not be what.
So
yeah.
We'll go back and try and sort out what has happened to the 74, and I think he may have hit the Mario banana here off turn number 4. It just got sideways.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I was thinking the number 3 might have helped him, but the 3 was nowhere near. He completely lost that on his own. And I'm going to guess that's why he's got the I'm mad face on, because as a race car driver, there's nothing worse than just running a good race and losing it on your own.
Yeah,
that is the most frustrating thing.
That slide was very similar to the slide that Matt Kenseth used to do after he won a race. He would just kind of do a little super fast spin on the front straightaway and then keep himself going, but unfortunately that is not applicable for what we have going on here. But we do have some pit stops here occurring. That's Matt Long in the number 28 car. He is in the pits along with Hickson, Bassad Jr., Cissna. No, Cisco's not in the pits, excuse me, but 4 guys in the pits. Most are on the track, but now Murray is going to be in a position he has not been in here tonight. He is going to be on the outside of P2 for the restart, and he's been in P1. He knows what it's like to get the jump. He knows what it's like to, you know, get that huge lead, but now Murray is going to have to fight with the second lane and do his best to retain that second spot fighting into turn number 3. well, turn number 1. I still get it wrong.
And the thing is, I think Alex Murray prefers that inside line, just based on how I've seen his race restarts go from P1 and P3. I think Alex Murray would rather be on that inside line. So I'm curious to see what happens here, because the inside line is, I think, the stronger line here on the restarts at Phoenix. So we'll see how Alex Murray gets along on that outside line, but I'm a little nervous for him, I'm not going to lie, just knowing how that inside line has done on race restarts.
Well, the benefit for him will be that he has by far the fastest car here on the evening. So if anybody, even if he loses a spot on the restart, he's led 73 of the 94 laps that we've run thus far. So if anybody, if he loses a spot on the restart, do not think at all that it's going to deter him from this win for that long. So we'll see indeed how that works out. But this is a little race recap, what we got going on right now. We have 28 drivers on the lead lap. Of the 33 drivers that took time, we'd have 31 still on track. Only Bobby Anderson and R. Scott Schroeder out of the race. So with all the calamity that we have had, Bradley, we still have essentially 31 cars on this track that are still within a competitive level of pace right now.
Yeah, all of the drivers were very, very close in qualifying, so the pace part doesn't surprise me. I think the spot that's really shocking me the most is just the amount of cautions we've had, but we talked about the Phoenix curse, so it also doesn't surprise me there at the same time. Lights out on the pace car, we're 1 to go, and we're getting ready to do the 3/4 lap of Shane as we come through, and I'm curious to see what happens here, because other than Alex Murray, everybody in that top 12, top 15 actually, have gained significant positions to be where they're at. So I'm looking, I see Chad Gunningsman, who's gained 19 places, Chad Kidd, who's gained 14, Andrew Kotska, who's gained 14, Cody Richardson's 13, Justin Levine is 16 places. So all of these drivers up front really want to hold on and do what they can as we get ready to hit this Geico restart zone and get going yet again for another set of green flag racing. For how long? Nobody really knows.
Well, I just checked on our weather graphic. It's 5:30 virtual time. So for mid-March, if this thing goes another hour, we might be turning the lights on, literally. So that'll be a dynamic these guys were not expecting, but hopefully we get this thing up and rolling. But we are rolling here. Levine with the push to Causey here. That's going to put Murray back to 3rd, maybe 4th here, depending how that all flies out. Entering turn number 3 here. They all fan out. Murray will get 3rd without any contesting there, but he's going to try to send it around the outside of Levine. Not able to do so, but they are door to door. 17 of Reese Schaefer there, up 47 of Kotska, big loose off of 2, and he was able to retain it. And here comes Chad Gunningsman, a huge comeback for him, gets himself in the top 10.
Yeah, Chad Gunningsman is now up 20 places as it sits, and I missed out on one crucial detail of that race restart. I see somebody very, very loose off in the back.
Oh, and there we go, Neil Pearson around.
The spin. And caution number 10 of the evening.
All right, well, we will stay on board with Neil for the duration of this, because there was some doings afoot in front of him. Yeah, so that, I couldn't make out that pink and purple car, but he got loose down to the inside. Oh, he got big turned there. And that was from Mr. Edstrom there. That now, Edstrom was just big mad, but remember, he spun himself out, so I can't imagine that any of that screwed over to Pearson. Now, what happened here?
Yeah, it looks like maybe just 62 came down a little bit and just didn't have enough room there. I'm gonna take a different flavor on that. I don't think the space was really there, or it wasn't there enough. I don't think he had enough to say that that was his lane. But I'm not race control. I'm just the broadcaster, and people can get mad at me, because if they do, I just doesn't really matter. But that's just my cup of tea on that one. Yeah, that's a weird incident. I don't know. And
it's not clear cut, no matter what you say, but you know. You got to lean on one side of the fence or another, I suppose. But it's not clear cut, so I don't envy admin at all on that one.
I don't either. And something's happened to the number 74, Brandon Edstrom. I'm showing that he was in an incident. It looks like he just completely turned into the wall under caution. So it looks like he was just down the backstretch and then just immediately slammed into the wall.
Now?
I don't know. Yeah, just a second ago. It's very bizarre incident. I don't know what happened with him there.
Would you entice that as a rage quit? Well, let's see. We have it on screen right here.
Yeah, I don't know what this is. I mean, maybe just misjudge trying to get some heat in the tires.
No, he cut his cam feed instantly too, so I'm going to take that as a
good evening, good night.
Yeah, I'm going to take that as a sayonara. Catch you next week. Browns aren't on me tonight. Something on those lanes, but let's go quickly talk about someone that we haven't talked about too much here on the evening, and that is Benjamin Stevens. Remember, he won last week's race at Atlanta Motor Speedway, where he came out of was it the Cup race or was it the Master Series race that he won lap? I don't remember, but he won a race. I want to say it was the Cup race last week, a couple weeks ago at Atlanta. He won, and he won it because he came out of nowhere on older tires, on newer tires rather, and just cut through the field, gained a huge gap, and managed to put it in victory lane. But hasn't really had the same luck. Still up 12 spots on the day, but has only been a mid-teens car here tonight. So luckily he has a lot of attrition to work with here, and still 85 laps to see what he can get out of this deal.
Yeah, and I think the thing with some drivers is they're just going to be wanting to survive this race. They're not going to try anything crazy. They're not going to do anything off the hand. They're just going to tick down the laps, and you won't really see them show up and show out until the last 30, 40 laps. Because
it was the truck race he won. It was not the Cup race, can confirm.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I was going to say I didn't think he won last week, but I also could have been wrong on that. Something I missed on the last restart here as the pace car pulls in and we get ready for the 3/4 laps of shame here. Our P1 and P2 are teammates. That's why they got away so well on the last restart when it was P1 and P3. Joseph Kazi and Justin Levine are both part of Frontline Esports. So keep your eyes on them because they are going to take off really hard, and also should be a good run for them as we come around to the Geico restart zone here.
Yes, indeed, as Barney has probably going to need a little bit of arm workout, a little bit of arm therapy after much he's been waving that flag here today, but the green flag back in the air. And I'll tell you, you talked about teamwork there, and that was the closest outside restart for P2 we've seen all night. But he'll fall back into line, but here comes Alex Murray. Took a look underneath Levine. They're trying to take advantage of the situation. To the outside is Reese Schaefer here. He's going to try to pin Murray in, not able to do so. Murray finds a slight gap there. And speaking of finding gaps, here comes Cody Richardson down to the inside of Reese Schaefer, but seems like that outside is starting to roll here, making it really hard to get the runs down low.
Yeah, keep your eyes on Reese Schaefer because along with Joseph Kazi and Justin Levine, Reese Schaefer is that third teammate there in that One Sim Motorsports team. So those three are going to want to get up front together. They're going to want to stick up front. And I have a feeling that if Joseph Kazi and Justin Levine can do anything to help facilitate that, they're going to. So Alex Murray is truly fighting fire right now with teammates in front and behind. Cody Richardson is a very hungry driver who's going to keep pushing forward and has shown a lot of pace through this race. And then of course Kendall Leverin in the mix as well, who is very quick. Chad Gunningsman behind, up 21 places, and wants to continue to drag that number 97 all the way up the grid as much as possible here. We're through lap 100. We're actually lap 104. I'm a couple laps behind the lap 100 call out here. Lap 105 as they cross the line of 185. And at this point, these drivers really need to start thinking about strategy again, because if my calculations are correct, we're not too far away from green flag stops.
Yeah, I mean, we do kind of have a scattered bag of when these guys were on pit road. Many of them came in, at the stage 75. So those that came in at the stage lap 75, that 60 is probably the number they'd be going for. So that would be, what, 135 or so? And that'd be the run to the end. But some guys have pit on the caution since then. So that kind of throws that number out of whack. And being at Phoenix, again, you don't want to make a green flag stop here if you can avoid it, because you will go 4 tires and fuel. You will go a lap down, maybe even 2 here. So if a caution comes out in that window, you are almost going to be forced to pit because you don't want to pit under green, especially with the rate of yellows we've been having, because it is going to be such a risk in case another one comes out. Chad Kibbe there with a big wiggle there off of 2, 4, wherever turn it was.
Off of some corner, it's fine. I'm sure chat will correct us if we're wrong on our corner numbers somewhere. But as we watch the shoe coming through, and we're continuing to watch these drivers go around, tick down laps, do what they can. Everybody's a little loose because as that sun goes down, these cars, the handling, everything about these cars is going to change, and it truly is going to become the conversation of what driver prepped for this race the best and really has the adjustments in their setup to make it beginning to end, because of course this is the transition point with that sunset as we go through. And if we get more cautions, we are going to see some nighttime hit, and I'm really excited to watch that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody expected nighttime, but I do have an alert here from our chat, so we can cross off the rage quit from Brandon Edstrom's list of plausible causes of that wall impact. His wheel died, as we are being told in chat by Deb Harris, so I do appreciate that little heads up, and we will not put Brandon's sportsmanship into question there with the rage quit. That was not indeed what happened here. But Joseph Causey hanging on, and is it interesting enough that Alex Murray, he's in some dirty air, he's behind some fast cars, and he's stuck. But is he stuck? Is he just kind of riding, biding his, biding his time, or is it the aerodynamics and, just the traffic at play? Is that enough to slow down that 22?
So here's the thing with it as I watch. He's got pace. He is a very fast car. He's putting identical lap times to Joseph Causey and Justin Levine down. The thing that he needs to do at this point is settle in, and I think he understands right now it's not worth the risk as he sends it around the outside. He's going to make a pass if he can make a pass, but I don't think he's going to push anything and try to make an unnecessary risk here on lap 111. If he gets the run, though, on Justin Levine, he is going to take it and run away with it, but I don't think he's going to try to push and do anything unnecessary.
The hot ticket here is to get to the outside, get to the right rear on the entry of turn 1. You want to ring turn 1 on the outside above the guy in front of you, and he tried to do it. Levine barely cut the door on him there at the last possible moment. But as soon as that happened, you could see he's trying it. He's trying to get to the outside. That's where the pass wants to be made. Needs to be made, but Levine is playing the defense there of champions there. A little bit further back, speaking of potential champions there, could be that number 56, but again, he's just not having a Johan Seminario run here tonight. He's dropping back. He has the 47 of Kotska getting by him to the outside. He's got the 69 of Kalmasecki here in close proximity to his arrears now. And then again, Andrew Dyson, he's been through the ringer here tonight. And he's definitely faster than an 8th place car, but he needs to needs to stop being in situations. He needs to continue that comeback and see if he can get up with these top 2.
Yeah, at this point, it's really your lap 114 to 185 coming around the line. It'll be lap 115. It's the decision on these guys. When do they need to start making the move? And if you're somebody like Dyson, it's sooner rather than later that you want to start moving your way forward here. We're riding on board with Murray, and you can see yet again he has the run on Levine that he needs. He just needs to make that line to the outside and make it stick. And again, you can see just how different they're making these lines down to that dog leg into turn 1. Every one of these drivers has a unique approach to this track, and for some people it's working better than others, and he just needs to get that pass done somewhere at this point, does Alex Murray, because the longer he waits, the harder it's going to be.
And that Phoenix sun starting to go down here, which I will say, I don't know who is a virtual reality driver in this session, but those virtual reality drivers have it worst of all when it comes to the solar reflections here on iRacing. They are absolutely brutal. And that sun coming off of 2 down the backstretch is getting into everybody's eyes, and I don't think they were quite preparing for that here. Again, this race length, we weren't expecting that at all, but I do see at the top of the shot, I saw someone going side by side, and that's Murray going to the inside of Levine. I mean, this could work Looks like Levine is going to block him all the way down there to Mexico, all the way down to the inside wall there, but he's going to keep them where he wants them. He's going to keep himself on that outside lane, and he's going to force Murray to pinch his car down there to scrub that momentum off and to pass him the hard way.
Yeah, I mean, he is... Justin Levine, you are defending like a lion, man. I don't know what to say to that defense other than just I'm impressed. And now it's actually got Alex Murray on the back foot, because here comes Reese Schaefer again. 1, 2, and 4 are teammates here. So now Reese Schaefer, they're trying to back him up into Reese Schaefer, I think, to give Reese Schaefer the chance to get up into third place, put Alex Murray on an even further back foot.
Now, the 2005 Detroit Pistons would be proud of the defense that Justin Levine is playing right now, because he is keeping the score low. He is keeping the opposition up and at it right here. But look at Reese Schaefer, Alex Murray. I wonder if he overheated the tires. I wonder if, you know, this long run speed in traffic is just not what the 22 signed up for, because here comes Reese Schaefer in that number 17 Pit Stop TV Camaro down to the inside, coming off of turn number 2, and we really haven't seen Murray be vulnerable, and this is the first time. He's going to really pinch him down, maybe a little bit of contact, maybe a little bit of door tapping here through the center of 3 and 4, and the drag race for third continues.
Yeah, this drag race that was for second is now opening up to who's in P3, who's in P4. And again, I still think Schaefer a little bit better run, has that inside line, and I'm going to tell you the inside line is the preferred line right now, the way these drivers are driving. But Murray not giving up yet. It's side by side as we dive into turn 3 or turn 4 here, one of the turns, the final turn here. And there we go, turn 4, hit the quote-unquote front stretch here, dogleg around, and again, you can see Schaefer take such a deep line there into 1, but then shoots back out on the track, scrubs that speed, and Murray staying out the way he does, wide on the line, but can carry a bit more momentum. Side by side yet again as they come out of turn 2.
To the wiggle, to the wall, and I can't say the next line because I'll get banned here, but coming through 3 and 4, and again, I think what is happening to Reese Schaefer here is what's happened to Murray. He was pinched to the inside. He overheated that right front Goodyear. He got the handling upset. And here on the iRacing service, once you get that car tight, once that tire gets overheated, it doesn't come back. And I just look at chat, these announcers sound familiar. I thought at quick glance it said these announcers sound terrible. And I'm like, well, you know, everyone has their own opinion, but that's what happens when I look at, I glance too small there. But yes, you'll hear this voice a lot, and again, a lot of people have watched this series, and a lot of people are racing in this series this season from a series that we covered last year, the 100% Cup series, now a defunct series that ran 100% long, you know, full distance Cup races, open setup on Saturday night. That league ran the better part of about 4 years with a great level of success. A lot, you know, Coke drivers, and you know, that league had a really good run, but it did run its course, no pun, and a lot of the drivers have found themselves over here to SSRL, and we've got ourselves an audience, we've got ourselves a lot of the drivers, and we are having a grand old time here. But it looks like Reese Schaefer cannot complete that pass. He will fall into line, and again, this is the longest green flag stretch we've had, maybe if not mathematically, it feels like it anyways, as it looks like there's a pass there. Gunnig's been losing the pass to, I think that's Kotska. But we're closing in on what should be the beginning of the fuel window. 60, we think, is a stretch, as we said, Bradley, but the fuel window is opening, and some of these guys are going to be forced to pit based on their last pit stop.
Yeah, I'm fully expecting the leaders to dive in here at some point, because everybody through, from what I can see, last pit on lap 76 for a majority of the top 10. As far as I can tell on my sheet. So I'm trying to think, if they're going to pit, it's probably going to be right about now or within the next 5 laps. And that is going to be what mixes things up, because green flag stops are a challenge compared to those caution stops, and pitting under caution, it gets very, very challenging to make sure you get slowed down for the start, for the pit lane, get down to that pit limiter, make sure you get into your pit box and hit your mark and stop. It's a very, very quick, tight sequence, and if you mess any of it up, it will really, really catch you off guard.
And speaking of things that we got caught off guard here, Schaefer did get by Murray, and Murray he's under fire now from the 46 of Cody Richardson. So again, he's vulnerable now. He's in traffic. He's in a position he maybe didn't practice for that much. Now back to the fourth spot, fifth spot, older tires, end of the fuel load, end of the tire load. Towards the end of this race, we're coming to what should be the money stop. And again, you don't want to be the first to pit, but you also don't want to be the last to pit. If you're the last to pit, you're on old tires. You're losing 0.8 of a second a lap. If you're the first to pit, you're at the biggest risk of a caution flag coming out. So at some point, someone's got to break both of those molds, but you don't want it to be you.
I think it's going to have to be Richardson. He is really, really struggling right now. He's not happy with this car, the handling, anything of it. I don't think he is happy at all with the way the car's handling right now. Whether it's an issue with setup as the lights go down, whether it's an issue with just his tires have ran out, whatever it is, if anyone's going to gamble, I think it needs to be him. He needs to make a difference, because otherwise he is going to start just dropping down the field like a drop the stone into a lake, and he's going to keep falling back. There's that number 46 of Richardson on that inside line. I don't think Murray can do anything to defend that.
Oh, and the fence.
Try.
Yeah. Alex Murray, you're going to hear another pun you haven't heard before, Bradley. Alex Murray is in Alicia Keys mode because he keeps on falling through this field.
I like that one. I might have to borrow that one a time or two.
Perfectly fine with me, as long as don't sing it too well or you get the copyright strike. But look at him, he's now stuck to the inside of pit stops. Pit stops aplenty here at Phoenix Raceway. We saw a couple guys pull in there. I try to see who it is here on the quick shot here. Richardson, as I think you said, he was going to be first dibs into the pits, and there you go. You got that one right on the money.
I try to sometimes, but yeah, Richardson, first one in here, this is gonna set off the chaos. So as we keep going, more and more people are gonna be in. Richardson's in, Casey Ryback is in. Of course, Casey Ryback is down a couple of laps. Here comes Kotska into the pits. So pit lane is about to get very, very busy, very, very fast as we continue around. Jordan Salyers is into the pits. So I'm just curious at what point we start to see our leaders come through. Of course, remember the first 3 cars are all teammates. So I'm curious when that P1, P2, P3 decide they're going to tear into the pits here and get things going.
As we come off of turn number 2 here, I forgot I had this camera, which is going to be very helpful for this instance to find out who's coming to the pits. Nobody coming around that time. And then again, that remembers. We remember the situation. Some drivers pitted later. Some guys pitted on cautions after the stage. That'll give them a little bit more wiggle room. But as I said, the best lap, last lap ratio, which we'll pull up on screen for our leader right now, is right at about a second. So for every lap that you stay out, you're losing a second on the stopwatch. So again, that is the risk of staying out. But again, you're also at the risk of, will a caution come out? So you have to kind of balance out those two evils and use those to make your pit stop decision here. Here comes Andrew Dyson underneath Kendall Leveron here down the front straightaway into turn number 1. But again, very seldom do you have to pit off turn number 2 here, but that's the deal here at Phoenix, but they will remain on circuit.
Yeah, Phoenix, it's such a weird pit entry, but the drivers are doing really, really well with negotiating it and handling it and getting through and just keeping things comfortable here. There's still battles all through the field, but as we watch these pit stop cycle, I think it's going to really make the race clear on who the drivers are that we need to watch. I do think Alex Murray is a driver that we need to keep our eyes on and see where things land. And then, of course, all 3, Joseph Causey, Justin Levine, and Reese Schaefer. Kendall Leveron is into the pits now, as well as Kolmaneski is into the pits. So those drivers are in. It's really, really going to be tight near the end of the race.
Yeah, as we said, they tried stretching at 75 laps with the facilitation of about 6 cautions, and that proved to be too worse for wear. They were not able to do so, and we had guys running out or pitting at the first possible moment with a drop left in the cell. So we are left to believe that probably 55 to 60 is where you want to be, and at this point Causey is coming close to that mark. So we are still waiting on the pit stops, and I can confirm to you at home that we still are waiting for approximately the top 20 1 vehicles to come to the pits right now. Everybody else is still on their OG set since their last stop. So that is a lot of drivers staying out, but you have to remember, all those guys that have pit, what are they doing? They're running some of the fastest laps on the racetrack right now.
Yeah, and that you get this question about whether you want to pit earlier, take advantage of the fresh tires, or stay out later. It genuinely just depends on track position and pace. If you are one of those top 5 guys, if you pit earlier, you get those fresh tires on, you can gain your positions back. If you pit a bit later, you're going to find yourself in the middle of this traffic and a bit of chaos here. And this is the moment where if you're going to see another caution flag, this is a good chance for it. You get those guys on real old tires mixed up with the new tires, people getting antsy, people behind in pits, people around. It's going to get real crazy. As you're highlighting here, Cody Richardson 27.4 on that last lap with the best lap of a 27.1, down in 20th place, and they're running 28, the leaders are. So it's a major pace difference when you get those fresh Goodyear tires on.
Yeah, 0.6 a lap. So let's say there's a 10 lap differential between pit stops. So what's that, 6 seconds that you would theoretically give up, and then you have to gain those back if you're on. And here comes Kazi. Whoa, he is squirrely, and he gets control and hopefully gets down to pit road speed. Oh, there goes who is that just behind him that lit him up there on the binders there? I think that was Schaefer. He smoked them at the pit entry cone here. So again, we don't want to see pit road speed. You talked earlier that you don't like seeing races decided by kind of silly things. You don't want to see a race decided because somebody speeds in the final stop.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is going to be the final stop or not. I'm kind of sitting here thinking about it. We're lap 140 of 185, so that'll be 45 laps to the end. It'll be close, I think. They theoretically should be able to do it on fuel with no issues. I believe it theoretically is possible. However, I think if we get a late race caution, every car will be in the pits for a fresh set of tires and a quick little run. Oh, for sure. And here comes Justin Levine through. I don't know if the painted sections have less grip or not, but you'd think they will by as much as everybody is sliding through. But coming off of the racetrack here is Justin Levine. That will give the tentative lead to Kyle Westwood here. He will be in that number 84 car, and he will enjoy the temporary lead, still awaiting his stop. So Kevin Zosiak in the pits. So again, we're going to try to absolve any further damage to him. And then here you come. That is Andrew Dyson, and he had a little gaggle in front of him that has separated. But again, look at that sun coming down here at Phoenix. Yeah, and there's a separation in the grandstands there that it just cuts through as you're going through. So you can have good moments, and you can have good moments down that backstretch / front stretch where you can see just fine, and then all of a sudden you can see nothing. And as you watch, the drivers in real life, they actually will hold their hand up and kind of shield that sun off so they can see ahead of them. Here in the sim, you don't get that luxury. So I don't know what you do if you're sim racing around this track and that sun starts to come down on you. I don't know what the option is, but I'll tell you right now, the option is probably not door banging someone around, because that is very, very close competitive racing.
Yeah, I think the magic ticket is to email iRacing support over and over again and get them to add visor tear-offs here, but that has yet to come into existence here, but hashtag soon may be the case here. But still waiting on pit stops, Kyle Westwood here on track, and then Cody Richardson. He would be the first of the bunch. You know, this would be where things would cycle out. Then you have Kendall Leveron in third. I do believe he has already pit as well. Yes, he has. So now Joseph Kazi, who would be the fastest on circuit, really, given what we have seen in this last stage of the race. You can see that is not that big of a gap. That is right there. That is our gap, the leader right there. So he is only maybe 2-3 seconds back, but he has the benefit of fresher tires, so he should be able to eat that gap up in no time.
Yeah, it should not take a lot, and it should help for some good runs and good racing through. Again, that gap first to second place is 20 seconds, but Kyle Westwood, the only driver I see that still needs to pit in this pit stop cycle. And it's curious to me that Kyle Westwood is just holding out at this point. Alex Murray sitting in 7th. It feels like he lost out big time there in that pit stop cycle to me.
Yeah, he's 23 seconds off the leader, but that is not accurate. So if we subtract about 20 seconds from that, he would end up shaking out to be roughly 4 seconds off the lead once all shakes out to, you know, where it should play out to be. So that just shows, again, once he got back in traffic, and this takes me back, again, I'm an old school fan, so I remember Jeff Gordon back in his heyday. And once Jeff Gordon's championship era got over, about 02 to 05, if he got in front, he was gone. Just no chance. Those flames were going to victory circle, but as soon as he got in traffic, it was just like Superman got his wings cut off. And that's kind of what it seems like today with Alex Murray.
Well, and sometimes it's just a mentality thing with the drivers. Sometimes it is genuinely the car handles, the setup will handle better in by yourself in that clean air. And as soon as you get in a bit of traffic, you're in trouble. Because remember, these guys have been testing at least for the past few days to get ready for this race and get their setup comfortable. And the thing that you have to remember, when they're testing setups, a lot of these guys are probably just hot lapping. So if they haven't practiced to see how the car feels in traffic, they're not going to know. And then once you get into traffic, it'll act different. Kyle Westwood into the wall off of turn 2, which is very, very not fun to see here from the current sitting race leader, who still needs to pit. And of course, we were looking at the driver's eye of Jordan Salyers just a second ago, who's kind of just settling in the center of traffic in the midfield and just wanting to run a race and stay comfortable here.
Johan Seminario, another one of our camera drivers here. He is, and this is just not a Johan day, really. I mean, Johan day, if it's not a top 5, it's not a Johan day. He's just kind of a standard he has set for himself, given his prior experience within the league. So just kind of a blah day. I mean, I can't even really relate it to damage. I can't really relate it to a wreck. Just not a, just, you know, just kind of a blah day. But, you know, everyone is entitled to have a couple of those. So you just don't want to have too many if you are going for a championship run here. But, and Kyle Westwood still on circuit, still yet to pit. If he was to stay out and we were to get a caution, he would have roughly half the field a lap down. But as you can see, all these cars passing by, Tanner Marty and Ben Stevens, the 8 car of Josh Campbell, as every car passes Westwood, they are getting their lap back. He is, you know, losing that much time, running about 28.4s while everybody else is in the mid 27s.
Oh, somebody got loose in front of him there. I think that was, who was that actually? That was Jordan Salyers getting loose in front, dropping low. But yeah, just back on your point there, it's so surprising to me that Kyle Westwood is still out, because Kyle Westwood pit lap 98, and even though he pit earlier, he's kind of holding on. That pace difference, I figured he would have went ahead and pit with the rest of the leaders kind of on cycle, but no, he's staying out. He's sticking to the cycle. Maybe he's just fingers crossed for a caution at this point, but any lap now, I think he's going to have to pit. We're lap 155, he pit lap 98. So anytime he's going to have to pit, that's going to relinquish the lead over to Joseph Kazi, and then we just need to watch a run through to the end as we see everyone run through. But Joseph Kazi is also opening up a lead there in P2 with a couple second gap between. But man, Westwood, pit in, buddy. You're losing so much time, and there it is. It's almost like I'm his crew chief.
Yeah, I mean, you've called a couple shots here today, so maybe you've got a career outside of broadcasting available to you here, but that will bring things back to Joseph Kazi. And again, he was someone who was in the top 3 all race, and he just needed his chance, and he got his chance. He needed that long run. He got that long run. He had a couple good restarts, had the pit strategy. And here he is with I think it'll shake out to be just about a 2-second lead. Richardson down there in 3rd. Now he is kind of in a gaggle of sorts here that has Kotska, Levine. I think Murray is trying to tag along this battle. But I don't know how well Levron will hang on, because he is on one of the older sets of tires of the bunch.
Yeah, and you know, tire strategy is one of those things that sometimes you don't think tires make that much of a difference in NASCAR. It truly does. It really, really does make a difference here. for having the right tires and being on the right fuel, the right strategy, the right setup, but especially tire grip. That's where you're really going to start to see some action happen here. As we watch Cody Richardson and Kendall Leveren, who are battling out. This is the battle for second place, actually. So these guys are really, really trying to push through. We saw a little bit of a wiggle there from Cody Richardson, but he is doing well to try to hold on to P2, but they've got a 3-second gap. They need to start making up to Mr. Joseph Causey if they can.
Yeah, Joseph Causey is just out to, he's just out for the kill here in this one here tonight. Oh, you had about a 1-second gap on me on that one, so unfortunately, this is going to turn out from a long-run natural race to a good old-fashioned slugfest as the caution comes out. And I don't know do you have a trigger for that one there, Bradley? Because I don't have anything overly prominent. I do see a lot of smoke here.
Cody Richardson on the backstretch came together with Justin Levine, and then the number 2 of Kendall Leveren hit him, and then just add insult to injury as Cody Richardson was getting back on the track. The field was coming around. They start to slow down, and the number 23, Mr. Shoeman of Chad Kibb, just gets absolutely clobbered from behind.
All right. Yeah,
sorry, he hit someone behind. So just a big dumpster fire of an incident, honestly.
Replay on screen right here, and you can see the 46. Yep, they came together. Who came high, who came low, don't quite know, but they both met in the middle there. And then, as you saw, there's the 46 down the back straightaway, and
just let it keep playing here because it gets.
It's not. Oh, we're not. It's, in the words of Chris Daughtry, it's not over. Oh, it just broke sideways. Yeah, that makes you wonder, did he peel out, or did that tire just run out of all grip there at the very end? It's no worse for wear. I couldn't quite tell you, but that will put us in a very precarious position again, where I'll go back to your adage there, Bradley, that you don't like races that end up like this. And we kind of had the people who we thought were going to win the race, and now we're kind of in a split situation. We see some guys in the pits, but most staying on the track, which I think is a good call. Because track position is important, but at the same time, there's just not a lot of laps to take advantage of it, especially when we've only pit about 15 laps ago.
Yeah, that's the thing, is all of these guys just pit, so it's really interesting to me if they are opting to pit now. I got to think, what's the strategy here? Is it just going for that slightly fresher tire life to try to get more track position? What's the mindset here that they're going for? I can tell you the number 23 and the number 11 are in the pits. They both got black flagged by race control for that incident on the backstretch. So curious enough there. I don't have specifics. I just see that the black flag was thrown on both of them, which is going to really, really hurt their race.
Now, I can confirm to you that the race is not over. There are some very weird time. Again, I blame week 13. There's some very weird situations that happen with our overlay software, and it just kind of freaks out. And for some reason, in these Caution Fest races, it likes to freak out, and it's doing that right now. So our live data is slightly skewed right now. We are on lap number 132, but again, some of our data on our overlays is just going to be out of whack right now. I tried to reset it, but didn't seem to fix it. So we'll do the best we can here, but we are on 1 to go.
1 to go with 23 laps to go. It'll be 22 laps to go as they cross the line. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you need to use the bathroom, it's been a long race. If you need to use the bathroom, need to get some popcorn, need to get something to drink, you better do it now, because these next 23 laps are either going to go very, very fast or very, very long, drawn out and slow. It's up to the drivers on how many laps they can get under green, how many cautions it is. Pace car peels off. Usually I'd tell you we're back underway, but again, this is Phoenix Raceway. You've got the 3/4 of a lap of shame here. You can see the Lucky Dog cars getting the wave around up ahead that are going through, but at this point, it is also a case of we just need to watch leaders go around. Alex Murray finds himself in the rightful position in the lead as we come around turn 3 here with Joseph Causey in second place, Justin Levine in third. Remember that 22 and that number 1 are teammates, though. The 88 and the 1 are teammates. So as they come around 22 takes off. The 88 and the 1 should try to lock up together as teammates and chase down Murray. But Alex Murray once again finds himself in his rightful position in the lead. We're 22 laps to go here in the Spartan SimRacing League, and they are absolutely going to run it to the line.
Yeah, Murray has himself in that lead as he has yearned to be in since the stage. And there we go on the back straightaway. We're wrecking.
That was the number 47 I saw of Kotska, and I did not see who else was involved with that, but it looked like a pretty big one. I've got Kotska, Chad, it looks like, was in there. Robert Bisol was in there. So few drivers getting involved with that.
Yeah, we will try to see what happened there on that restart. And again, the 47 Kotska probably got the worst end of the stick there, and we'll go and sort it out on replay.
Yeah,
we'll have to probably go from a top-down perspective on this one.
Yeah, it looks like just too many cars trying to go in the same line. You know the old adage, 2 into 1 doesn't go. It looks like at that point it was 4 cars trying to go in the space of 2, collect each other up, and it looks like just the field had to react behind it. See the 97 sliding off a bit there, a little bit of a tap by the 3, but really the 47 was the big loser there.
Yeah, 47, again, I'll try to get one more look of that. I'll try to find a car that was near him, but not maybe the 41 of Dyson may have a good view of this one here. I'm just gonna try to queue up an angle from Dyson's perspective here. See 17 of Schaefer. Yeah, the 47 kind of got loose, came down maybe a hair, and when you're running that close, that's just all it takes. And Dyson kind of steamrolled himself through, and there goes his bumper.
And they were slow off the exit, which helps nothing, kind of going back and looking at it. It's slow off the exit, and then you've got the field behind you just running. And when you've got a run like that, I mean, you're gonna push it through. But I mean, man, and there went a front bumper.
Yep, there goes Dyson's bumper here. It's just littering for good measure. Here it comes. And there it goes.
You'll find that on eBay later tonight. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, maybe he'll. I don't know what the shipping rates will be, because hopefully they don't ship it back to Australia, package it, and then send it back out, because that may be a very expensive souvenir there. But again, overlays are broken. They tend to break. I've noticed this is the second caution infested. I mean, this caution's 4 or 5 a race, but I covered a race that had about 30 cautions in it, and they broke like this towards the end of the race. I don't know why. It happens. So we have a half hour. We literally have to have this race done in 30 minutes, or else we are going to have a timer. So we are on lap number 139, coming to lap 140. So we have 45 laps to go. Can you confirm that for me?
I am showing 19 to go at this point.
Okay, so yeah, this just shows I don't have live data that I can really go off of right now. Oh yeah, 167. So yes, we are on lap 167. So we do have to get this race over in 29 minutes. So we are kind of working on broken telemetry right now. And again, I do apologize for that. Really nothing I can do. I'm just kind of at the realm of what the overlays will provide me. But looks like we are on 1 to go, and we will try this once more.
Yep, 1 to go here. Car will be in. It'll be 17 to go when they cross the line here, because we'll be on lap 169 of 185. They should have time to get this race in, bar a bunch of cautions, bar a green, white, checkered. But all that being said, we should see this race finish on race and not on time. Of course, this has been a long broadcast through, so thank you to everyone who's still here. We're going on about 2.5 hours now of broadcasting and bringing this race to you here. But of course, this is a big one. So here we go as we go down this long backstretch yet again. I get so excited for the race restart. Then I have to remember that with Phoenix, it's a 3/4 lap to try to get things around. And as we come through, Alex Murray to the inside, Joseph Kazi to the outside, and Justin Levine to the inside here. We'll see who can land where. And there we go. There's the start. And Alex Murray, if he's in the lead, his restarts are gorgeous, Corey. And here we go as we hit 17 to go this time by.
Yep, 17 to go, and now heading into turn number 1 and 2. And, you know, it's going to be a tough race for him to summarize, because he was the fastest car. He fell back, and you know, the circumstances of a cluster of a race may be enough for him to get that magic back and put himself in victory lane. But just going to be a minute before we get to siphon through for the rest of the field. Everybody else has managed to get through this restart in relatively clean fashion here. That second place car of, I believe it to be Justin Levine trying to close on in, and Joseph Causey trying his hardest to gain these spots back. But now he's in traffic. He needs a long run, but there's two things he doesn't have. He doesn't have a long run, and, well, he's also has complete changing track conditions here that may be benefiting the 22 as well.
Yeah, but he seems like he's settled in the 41, gets in the mix. Again, I was getting ready to point out the 41 was out there with no front bumper. Now he's just got no car, period. Big wreck there on the front stretch with Thomas, Komaneski, Andrew Dyson, Ippolito.
Hey, I fixed
was
the
in the
overlays.
mix.
So I did something good happened there, but
Hey, that works for me.
just going to a beta version, which is not usually what you want to do in the middle of a race. But either way, it works. So let's see what happened here. 17, a Schaefer got loose. Dyson's day goes from bad to worse. And another front bumper to go on to eBay there from the company of Reese Schaefer this time. And there goes Ty Ippolito in that 19 car. Remember, his race started off terrible, got slightly better, and, well, just had to go full circle and go back to being terrible again, I suppose.
Yeah, it's one of those. Sometimes the race isn't your day, and then it comes back, and then it just isn't your day again, and it's painful. It's very, very interesting. Good question in chat. What is the caution laps to race laps ratio? Well,
I'll give that to you.
we're on caution number 13. And if you average out, I think it's about 3 to 4 laps of caution usually. So do 13 times 4, whatever that is. Off the top of my head, I'm going to tell you 13 times 4. It's 52.
Yeah, we'll be able to see the final tally at the end. Again, our overlays have been ATVO, which is our software, which, if you don't know, it's the software that provides the ability to do telemetry live. It is actually what iRacing uses in a more advanced form on their Coke broadcasts and Porsche Supercar and all those fun stuff. They've had to do a massive wealth of updates in this past week to accommodate rain and to accommodate new telemetry outputs and all these new data points and all this fun stuff. So that meant that they had to do updates, and it puts me in a difficult spot because I don't like doing betas of things that I haven't tested, but at the same time, if I don't do the beta, it might still be broken either way. So basically, I was in a no-win situation when it came to what to do with the broadcast. But we just downloaded the newest update, live broadcast. It fixed the overlays, so hoorah to that. So that being said, I don't have the ability to tell you the caution laps because normally that's another one of the fun statistics we like to play with. So as you can see here on this graphic, we have not had one caution, as much as we would love to say so.
One caution for 3 laps would be very nice, but unfortunately, it's 13 cautions for a lot of laps. But in a 185 lap race, some of these cars are probably okay with being under caution for that bit. Because again, it's mixed up the strategies a little bit. It made things crazy. After this race, you should go back and rewind the broadcast, not now, but in a little bit, and check out the end of stage end, because it got wild, and me and Corey got very confused.
This is, I think, more accurate to what we've been seeing today. I'm just going to put a 1 there. That's how it feels right now. 100%. That's how it feels with how this race is right now. That gives everybody an excuse for getting loose and sideways and slippy slidey. We're just going to say the track is wet. But we are not, with now 11 laps to go. I'm just looking here. This is the onboard of Alex Murray. We are going to miss the lights by probably nothing. They're going to be probably turning on at the white flag. I would think so, but we are on 1 to go. Again, this is just going to be a Herculean feat between the guy who I think has the short run speed and the guy that has the long run speed, who is just going to have to dig deep and figure something out and hopefully play nice here. But Justin Levine, he's going to need the restart of his life, and even if he gets that, he just hasn't had that top level speed. But he is a multiple-time champion, so you can never cut a champion driver out of the mix until the very end. So coming into the restart zone for who knows how many times here tonight. We'll try this once again. Murray's going to get one of his classic restarts. We're all expecting it. He's going to get in that Geico restart zone. There goes the Murray jump, and that's exactly what he needs firing off into turn 1.
You know, I'm going to have to ask Justin Levine after, what is it that he couldn't get the jump on the restarts? Because, I mean, doggone, he's had over a handful of them. I've got
I'll
not
tell you
enough
exactly
fingers
what
to
it
count.
is. I'll tell you exactly what it is. When you are on the outside on a restart and the restart zone is in a turn, you are at an infinitely worse situation because you are turning, you're on a longer radius, and you also can't look to your left because you have to look straight in turn. There's so much going on, and virtually it's almost impossible to do well.
Man, he's going to be kicking himself, though, because look at this. He's now down in the P3. He's got Root on the inside, RJ Root on the inside there, and I think this is going to relegate him into P4 because he
washes up the track.
It's so close, and then behind him they've got action. This is where the cars are getting crazy. This is where the handling is getting very jacked up, and this is where I don't think any of these drivers anticipated this race going into sunset like this. So nobody's happy with the car, nobody's happy with the run, and we're 7 to go with the line, and oh, there's somebody getting swirly. The 28 coming around. He's gonna hit the 2. There's a big wreck in the backstretch and a yellow flag with 7 to go here.
Oh my Lanta, we're still going.
Big one.
Yeah, that wreck carried over into 3 broadcast cameras right there, and we'll have to find out where this started. I mean, I can see who's in it, but I'm trying to find out where this started from, so that I have any idea where to look at here. It looks like it may have started off with the 28 of Matt Long, potentially.
28 got loose on the backstretch, came down the track,
Long.
came back up, and then collected the number 2.
Yep, 28's Matt Long. So I was right. Yep. So yeah, as you said, coming out of 2, got it live on screen. Little contact there. Now who came high, who came low, I don't know. But yeah, that ended worse for wear. Neil Pearson missed it by a whisker. Dave Fuge gets mutilated there. 27 assists on the caution kid. This one was not his fault at all. He may have incidented. Now this is a running gag. You don't know. Andre and myself cannot say, well, it might even be a word. Incident in past tense. Incidented. So basically we just stutter on the ED and it just kind of turned into a running joke. So I'm pretty sure Cessna incidented out on that one.
A lot of drivers got caught up in that. I'm kind of looking at the list. Matt Long, Kendall Leverin, Dave Fugue, Matt Cisna, Waldo, Neil Pearson, Kendall Leverin, Casey Ryback, Robert Beesall, Kendall Leverin again. Kendall Leverin, I see his name listed 3 times, which means he had 3 big hits somewhere. It looks like the 28 and the 2 not happy with each other. So if you look a little bit further through, the 28 and the 2 spinning each other in turn 1, which then unfortunately collected the number 44 again. So I'm sure race control are going to have some questions there for the 2 and the 28 coming into that after, because they had some retaliation in there, which is a big no-no, and nobody likes seeing.
Yeah, well, someone who I talked to earlier, Johan not having a Johan day, but he has taken the attrition and these restarts and, being aggressive, and this is a Johan day. Johan Seminario day is running in the top 5, so it may not be on speed, it may not be on circumstance, but, you take what's given to you and you make the most of it. And again, that's what, these top guys have to do. So, take an average day and turn it into a good day, or turn a good day and turn it into a great day. So that's a good comeback for him. Of course, the big comeback for Alex Murray, who probably had about a 7th place run written on his face here, but turns it into what could be a win. Joseph Causey is going to be on that outside here, which we talked about. And again, I'll say it in more detail. These tracks that have the restart zone in a turn are exponentially more difficult for the driver on the outside. So, Bristol, Dover, those tracks come into mix. But when you have a track like Daytona or Indianapolis where it's on a straightaway, you'll notice that outside guy could be a lot more competitive, but you don't tend to see it on these curved restart zones.
Yeah, that is true. It is very, very hard, but it's also kind of like we're on caution number 14 at this point here. So you would think the drivers after 14 cautions could dial in that outside, especially when like 10 of them have had Mr. Alex Murray up in the lead. So you would think at this point that outside line could calculate it a little bit. Now, I will say Justin Levine is on the inside line this time, which I think is going to be where he wants to go. We're 4 to go. Green-white checkers are a possibility here. Corey, I think we're in for some good action here coming to the end of the race.
Well, hopefully good is a good clean battle to the finish with a great bit of drivers going at it hard and aggressive. Let's see what happens here. Green flag in the air with 3 to go. I'll say Causey did as good of a job as can be expected given the circumstances. He's going to look low. This is the first time we've ever seen someone from the second spot make a plausible run for the lead. Somebody's all the way down there in no man's land through 1 and 2 into the fence there. RJ really we're wrecking. Now,
and I didn't.
Someone Zodiac involved. That one was not our fault. We have another blocked track here on the front straightaway, and you gotta feel for Causey on that one because he had the restart of his life and it goes all for naught.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where this started. It started with the Mobile 1 car there on the outside
14
line.
in the
14.
fence, and that just pancaked everyone down in there.
Yeah, Chad Sander.
Oh, there goes the lights.
So we do get lights tonight here at Phoenix, if for a few minutes. But, man, you got to feel, because Ty Ippolito was in the mix of that crash, too. And then where was Waldo? Waldo was in the crash as well. And you got to feel for him, man.
Yeah, you have to. You feel for a lot of guys at this point. But it just turns into, we say Phoenix is just one of those cursed tracks that we just cannot get a good sim race here. Well, I guess we can't get a good real life race here either for the most part, but for completely opposite reasons. But it's just one of those tracks, and why it hosts the NASCAR Championship race is beyond anyone of our comprehension. But actually, no, I'll take that back. I know exactly why this is the championship race, because they pumped $200 million into this place and they need an ROI on it. So once they get it, maybe they'll move it, but that's here nor there. That is a podcast topic, so if you want to hear the Corey and Bradley rant podcast, put F's in chat. Maybe we'll get that going. But we'll come down to 2 laps to go. We'll come into a green-white checker. We do have 3 of them on the table here. And again, Causey had the restart of his life once. He gave himself a chance. Can he do it twice? It's hard enough to do it once. Can you do it 2 times in a row? That's going to be asking much.
It's going to be a 50-50 between luck and skill. I think he has the skill, but I think it is the question of does he have the luck. And unfortunately for Justin Levine, he dropped down into 4th place, so he's starting that outside line 2nd row. This is truly, I think it's the Murray, the RJ, and the Causey. It's going to be the fight between those 3.
Because it just turns into one of those situations where Murray sees what he did wrong and, well, he's going to do something different. But also, this is just from a technical perspective, you can't get too much of a run-up as a 2nd place car, because then you might get called for jumping the restart. So you really have to balance that fine line here. And again, I don't think anybody expected this race to go under the lights here, so we'll see. Obviously, the lap times are going to be picking up here. We've run basically faster than qualifying laps here. We'll pull up Alex Murray's best lap here on the day. We'll actually pull up our race analysis here. Now, most of, no, that's the wrong graphic. Our race recap. Now, the caution graphic is not correct. The 177, that's wrong. But the fastest lap of the race is a 26.757. I don't know why it says the 177. That's not right. But the fastest lap of the race being a 26.757. So that is faster than the pole lap, I believe.
I'm pretty sure it is, from what I can remember. I'd have to double check myself, which I'm actually going to do now since I've said it, as we see the lights are out here. So we've got the lappage chain. Let's look at what what the time was there. So it was 26.742 was Alex Murray's pole lap.
Basically a draw.
We're right there. We're right there, which is very rare in a race to see the laps get that competitive, but that's how much the track has changed.
Now the temp has gone down with the lights turning on here, but we're going to have what I believe to be the second. No, I think this will be the first attempt. We have 3, so this would be the first attempt at a green-white checker overtime finish. Alex Murray, you have to know what he's going to do. If you're Causey, you got to be ready for it, and he was. He did it again. He got himself as good of a start as he could expect, maybe a tiny bit worse, but he's close enough to have a chance, and that's all he could ask for diving off into turn number 1.
Now remember, it's green flag, white flag, checkered flag. They need to find the white flag because then the next flag ends it here. As we come out of 2 down the backstretch, Murray's got a good run. Joseph Causey is a little bit there, but RJ and Justin back there in the battle for P3. They're very, very close. Hopefully nobody else in the midfield has anything wild going on. It's 2x2 all the way through turn 4. White flag has waved. Next flag ends this race.
Next flag ends the race, and Murray is just getting the edge. He's getting the advantage. Causey's going to sail it on into turns number 1 and 2, but he is too far back. He'll slide the nose. Now he's going to be in the clutches of RJ Root, which will be the battle for second, but it'll be all nonetheless. Here comes Alex Murray. He had the pole. He led a ton of the race. He dropped back, but he found the speed when it matters, and he's going to come and win here at Phoenix.
He wins here at Phoenix. Joseph Causey comes across P2, RJ Root into 3rd. 4th place, Justin Levine, who was in that big battle. Mr. Johan Seminario having a good Johan day, finding P5. And for a personal goal of his to be in the top 5, he's met his goal. Andrew Kotska in the mix there as all the drivers dive straight into the pits off of turn 2. So things move very quick. But Alex Murray with a very, very good win, setting the fastest lap on the last lap from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, 26.62 he ran there as his final lap. So I don't think anybody saw that happening, but here he's going to go burn it down on the one track in iRacing that you actually can go into victory lane, which I know he'll do. But the lighting doesn't render in there, so I was hoping we did that in the daytime, but that's rather here nor there. He is going to go burn it down and celebrate here at Phoenix, but because this broadcast is heading into overtime right now, and we don't want to cut because we do have your local news to follow, we do need to go and get you the final rundown of results and start our post-race show. So let's go ahead and carry on with that. Final rundown of results here today from Phoenix Raceway. Getting that finish in, well, slightly anticlimactic style. Alex Murray gets it by a half second over Joseph Causey. Raymond Root gets the 3rd. Justin Levine with a 4th. Johan gets himself a top 5. Tanner Marty, Kotska, Sailors, Westwood, and Ippolito round out our top 10. We're just going to let the rest of them scroll by here. We'll give you a chance to check out, point out some notables there. Kevin Zosiak, I don't know how he got up to 13th, but he did. You got Kendall Leveron there, 22nd. Neil Pearson, he had issues. Andrew Dyson hit everything but the lottery here tonight. And then the rest of these guys out rather early in today's affairs. But we'll head right down to victory lane. We'll see if we can get these guys queued up, and we'll get this thing rolling. Let's see, is our waiting room already queued up? No, it is not, but we know where to find Alex Murray. All right, we got Alex Murray queued up here. All right, Alex, well, we talked to you earlier, and the race was just, you were just sailing away with it, but middle of the race, I don't know if it was the traffic, the setup, or what happened, but you lost your wings there. But then the track cooled down, the strategies, the cautions, and you found your way, and here you are in victory lane. Man, what happened in that middle segment that dropped you back so far?
The track temp went from about 96-ish to 81, so we got super tight and had to make a couple adjustments there under the green flag stop, and then caution luckily came down, got 2, and I knew those guys were going to take 4, so I took 2 and kind of figured 20 to go. Let's make our bed, hope on cautions, and it worked out for us.
Yeah, it worked out for you indeed. Now, I know obviously you guys are super thorough. You guys plan out everything. Was there any plans here of, well, if just in case this thing turns into a night race, we got to have that cool track set up? Did you think this was even a possibility tonight?
Personally, no, I didn't. I didn't even look at what time the race was supposed to be in Sim, so I just kind of threw on what we've been running for NIS this week and prayed it worked. But I mean, it was really, really good. We got lucky there with a couple cautions, but other than that, the car was on rails. Team Conti Sim Performance put a really, really good setup out this week, so can't thank those guys enough.
All right, and there's one more quick one. So next week we have an enduro, not quite the 500 lap enduros you're used to at Bristol, but we're gonna have 300 lappers at Bristol next week. What's the mentality heading into Thunder Alley next week?
Help these guys out that are running for the points championship. Hopefully RJ and Brandon and Travis can get his computer fixed, and then Kevin as well. Hopefully they all can run good. I don't know if I'll race it, but I'm gonna be here to coach them through it. So hopefully they can get a win.
All right, good solid team effort there, Alex. Congrats on it, and we'll see you when we see you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you guys.
All right, now Bradley has caught up with. It's going to be a tough one for Joseph Causey to swallow, but you got him there for second.
Yeah, Joseph Causey, second place there in a race where you were fighting for the win, several points. There were moments where you were up in the lead. Your entire team was up in the lead. Kind of run me through your race tonight and tell me, did you think you could get the win near the end?
At the end, I already know Alex took 2 tires and he put a hot adjustment in it, and I knew it right as soon as I knew. The only way I had a shot at him is if I stayed side by side with him going into the 1 and 2. The last caution before we got this final green white checkered, I kind of had a shot at him. He got kind of loose, but then he ran away. After we had the other green white checkered, he ran away after that. So after that, I knew it was done. I needed that long green flag run to stay green. I was great on the long run.
Yeah, you really were. The restarts were where we saw Alex really get the run. But I want to look ahead with you for a second to next week, Joseph, to Bristol. You're going from Phoenix, which is, well, it's Phoenix. It's an interesting place. And you're going to run around next week to Bristol, do a super short track for 300 laps. Is there anything you're going to take away from this weekend and carry into next weekend to try to get a win next weekend?
Bristol, you just gotta have to be patient. Hopefully we don't get 1,000 yellows at Bristol.
I hope not.
Yeah. I hope not. You just gotta save. Bristol's all about saving. If we could get a long run and you save, you're gold. You'll be fast. But if we're doing these short runs, these little short runs, and then it's not gonna be no good.
Yeah, that is true. Looking ahead, though, further down, you got Bristol next week. What does this second place kind of put in your momentum going for the rest of the season? Getting a second place, of course, it's not a win, but it does kind of give you a little bit of momentum moving forward.
Yeah, I've had 2 bad races these 2 last weeks that I've raced. So this one was, we showed contention that we were going to be there and freaking be able to pull this off. So hopefully we could keep that momentum going to Bristol and these other tracks, and keep top 5s.
Yeah, absolutely. Joseph, I appreciate your time. Congrats on that P2, and I look forward to seeing you next week at Bristol.
All right, appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Awesome. And then Corey, it looks like you've caught up with P3, Mr. RJ Root.
All right, RJ, a 3rd place for you here today. You had that top 5 car haul race, but I think everybody was front to back involved in something at some point or another. But all in all, it turned into a Phoenix night race, and you didn't have enough to get that top 2, but still a top 5. And what do you take out of tonight?
Well, should trust my gut and pit in the first stage, because I was 3 laps short on fuel to make it to the end of the stage, and so that was a huge setback. I mean, that sent me back to 26th. So trust my gut and pit in the first stage to get fuel, and remember to downshift into turn 1.
Yeah, but being an oval driver, I don't care how many times you've driven this next-gen kart. It's shifting is just not your first intent, but definitely got that one. And yeah, we were royally perplexed in that first stage as well. When you guys pit, we're like, these guys know their stuff. They know when the stage is. They know the fuel load. Was it literally just a matter of, I think I can make it, I think I can make it, or were you just praying on more cautions and just not enough of them came out, I guess?
Well, for me, it was I needed one more caution. I don't know how Alex was saving so much more fuel than I was, but I had like a half a lap of gas left. If there was one more caution, I would have made it to the end of the stage. So, well, I mean,
I don't know if in hindsight we wanted another caution with as many as we finished out with here today. Well, next week we head to Bristol, and I still remember 2 years ago I called you down to a thriller of a win at Bristol. However, that was on the dirt. But now we're going back to the concrete for a 300 lapper next week. What's the confidence heading there next week?
Well, back-to-back top threes, you know, feeling pretty good. Got my mojo back after the rain came out. And so really looking forward to next week. I'm hoping that this Team Conti number 77 is fast again, and you know, we can stay up front for most of the race.
All right, well, we'll be watching it, and hopefully there's a little less carnage, but it's Bristol, so I guess we'll kind of expect it if it happens either way, man. But congrats on a solid podium, and we'll see what you can do.
Thank you.
All right, well, that is our post-race show here. So, Bradley, again, a little bit closer to bedtime than I think most of us were expecting, and I don't think any of us were expecting to pay the light bill here tonight. But either way, Alex Murray, again, the cream eventually always finds itself to the top.
Yeah, Alex Murray, looking at kind of just post-race reporting here and just some of the stats. I mean, very dominant from start to finish. Spent a majority of the time up in that top 5. And really, once he got up in the front, there was just no stopping him. So Alex Murray with a very, very good win. All of these drivers with very, very competitive runs. And I mean, you got to look forward to the rest of the Master Series. And of course, 300 laps at Bristol in a week's time. That's going to be a good one, and that is one that I highly recommend you tune into.
Yep, and it'll be myself, Corey Silva, and Bradley next week. It'll be my new partner here on Saturdays for the foreseeable future. So you'll want to make sure you stay tuned for that. Like, subscribe to all the content we have on the channel. We'll be back on Tuesday night with the American Muscle Series. We will be back on Wednesday for the SSRL Trucks double duty on Thursdays with the Red Sox and the E-Car Late Model Series, and then back again at it next week for more Master Series at Bristol. But that's going to be Corey and Bradley signing out of the booth. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.